Welcome everybody to today's stream. Hello. Hello. Hope you're all doing fine. Hope you all have a very nice weekend. Welcome. And let's have some fun together. It's Winter's Day. It's a very chill, relaxing time of the year. And yeah, let's just enjoy the game, talk about the crazy news that we got over the last few days and upcoming days as well. It's a lot of stuff that we can talk about. So yeah, hope you're all excited for that. There we go. Good morning to my European friends, and I guess good night to my dear American friends and everything in between. Doing some Alacrity Heal Paragon run here, just having some like really easy time. It's like one of my go-to very relaxing builds right now. It's just like pressing a few buttons and having all the boons for your party permanently. So if you're looking for a healer, this is one of the like really easy ones to learn. Welcome Snowdrop, you're already awake. That's insane. But yeah, I mean, what do you say? What do you think about the news that we got? Or like how, for example, we had like the news of the balance patch on Tuesday, or we got the balance patch. Then we will get another drop of balance news on Monday when the balance live stream will be. So the three developers, Roy, CMC and Rick, will give us some insight on the mid of January balance patch, and I have some high hopes for, because the last one on Tuesday wasn't like really that interesting and big, and I hope that the next one will be that big, but maybe I'm just coping too much. But that is already one of the news that I think I'm quite excited about. But then also ArenaNet is doing a lot of marketing, and I have to say I'm actually quite positively surprised how well it works, because I actually think a lot of people really like the new trailers, the new just interactiveness that they have with the new video about their like 25 year journey that they had in their studio. I think that's really good marketing, and that's a really different side that we, to be honest, have not seen before from ArenaNet. So yeah, I hope it continues like that. I really hope. I'm not sure what that means in like general, if that's like something that they have to work towards, something that they want to put out, or if it's just in general they want to now focus more on marketing because they see their chance with the current like MMO state not being the best in terms of like how many other games out there really like have a good time. We'll have to see. But either way, I'm actually quite excited. Yeah, I think CMC will definitely like, I hope that there will be some crazy reworks. Yeah, I really hope that there, for example, my hope is that not only specs that are somewhat underused are getting reworks, like let's say Weaver in competitive modes, or like in general Weaver, maybe make Renegade, maybe make Herald, something like that, great again to some extent in like raids specifically. But I also, and that's my interesting hope here, I hope that some of the specs that we got with Visions of Eternity, so talking about, for example, Gale Shot, talking about Conduit, those specs that in PvE are either crazy, like good in one single thing and that's it, or are just like, for example, Gale Shot got nerfed quite hard. And I'm not sure if that's the way that players want it. I think players want to have a fun time with Gale Shot, but they don't want to have a Gale Shot that is like somewhat exactly the same or almost lower number in DPS than Soul Beast. I think they want to have a little bit of a different approach to it and not have always played Soul Beast because it has the better burst. I think that's like, I'm not so sure. I hope they will give it a bit of a, not rework, but a revisit. I really hope so, yeah. Welcome, Sabah. Welcome. Hope you're all doing very fine today. And yeah, I really hope that, for example, Gale Shot, one of the traits on Gale Shot, I made a whole low intensity build-up around this trait, is that you shoot arrows, have higher arrow generation, and you can camp your Cyclone Bow. And this trait is extremely underwhelming. It's really bad. It's in the beta, it was insanely good, and now they nerfed down so much that it's almost like not worth taking anymore. And I think if they would buff this trait, I think it would be viable to make a somewhat low effort, maybe even low intensity Gale Shot build that has a decent DPS number. But with the current balance, it's really like you have to press a lot of buttons and then you reach numbers that are actually not that high compared to other specs. So I really hope they take a look at it again and make it either have a very clear niche or being at least very fun to play and being a decent number. Yeah. I did like the anniversary video, but it drifted heavily into self-serving apology territory in the latter third when it came to the expansions after ED, and they barely even acknowledged IBS existed. Yeah, I think that with the IBS, I noticed that as well, that there was like a big like gap where they said almost nothing about those few like months, years where they actually had like Iceblood Saga going on, for sure. But I have to say, especially the beginning time was really fun to watch, because that's something that most players did not really either know or have on their radar, because it's something that you typically don't see how a studio starts in the beginning. I think the end, I agree, the last few like parts where they talk about the new expansions, it was more like justifying why that is the best way to continue to move forward. I think that is a little bit of was a weird part, but I have to be honest, the last, let's say 5 minutes made me quite a bit of hope in terms of the future, not only about Guild Wars 2, but also about ArenaNet in general. They are actually knowing what their strengths are, and they know that they have a really nice player base and stuff, and they want to continue making the game better. I think that is really like, you could see that the developers are really loving their game still to this day, and that is something that I was like hoping that they still do, and they still want to continue, make the game better, make it bigger, make it like grow, get more players interested in it. And I think that's what you could see. Yes, there were some weird things with the expansions and saying, yeah, that's the smartest way to continue. And in the previous years, they just put out more content for less money. Weird, but yeah, okay. But apparently it's working out for them. Yeah, especially Visions of Eternity, I think, is like huge player base boost, huge like nice feedback from most somewhat new players, so I think they are actually quite happy with how it works out. Yes, I think some veterans are not, but for most of them they are. I just came back to Guild Wars 2 over 7 years. I want to start a new character. Is there any useful warrior sword power Condi build, right? Oh yes, oh yes. There is like currently like some kind of hybrid sword warrior build going around. It's really, really good, over 41k DPS. Paragon build, it's really, really strong. I have a guide about it on my YouTube channel that uses almost only like 3 buttons or something. It's really, really strong. But there is also a version where you press like more buttons, and it's even better then. So yeah, be sure to check that one out. !mark builds in the Twitch chat, or if you're on YouTube, you can just scroll down. There is a link to my spreadsheet where all the builds are listed. I'm a new player and your videos have really helped. That's perfect. That's really nice. Glad to hear that. If you have any questions, just ask. It goes for all players, of course, but especially for new players. Is there new Chrono World vs. World build without rival you would recommend? Not really. Chronomancer got really completely outclassed by Troubadour and World vs. World specifically. It's like, if you have access to Troubadour, you play Troubadour, and if you want to play Chronomancer, you will want to play a rifle. There is almost no other option. Like, rifle is the way to go. If you play support, you have to go rifle, sadly. Its Mesmer support is like quite limited in the weapons. You could go with staff or sword shield or something like that, but your healing will be completely like garbage then. Or not garbage, but it will be way worse. And that's a little bit sad, of course. I'm still trying to figure out my Condi Conduit build with Spear. I do like to play it. And I can use Legendary Armor instead of making Luminary. I want to make it move more of an open world build. Can I run and do? Yes, you can. I have an open world build for Conduit that is using pretty much like the same loadout, spear and stuff like that. And you can just use the same gear even. And yes, you will not be as tanky as a Celestial build, but it works perfectly fine as well. So I would recommend you to check that one out. You change one trait line, I think, to be more durable and get self boons and stuff like that. But in general, that is highly recommended. Spear on Conduit, full Condi Conduit as a DPS build or as a solo build works with almost the same gear and setup. Yeah, definitely a good choice. The start was excellent, especially seeing Guild Wars Alpha again when it was like a WoW clone. Also, the Utopia section was very cool for us old-timers from Guild Wars 1. Yeah, I think it was like, for me, I joined Guild Wars when it was already published, when Guild Wars 2, that is, when it was already published, when there was already quite a lot of the hype was over. But for the people that actually got into Guild Wars 1 first and then slowly got their way into Guild Wars 2 and noticed all this development, there is a lot of nostalgia in there, for sure. Like, that is really cool. And I think that was a really well-made production, and it was also like really nice for new players and veterans alike to watch this production, because it was nice to see how the studio developed over time, how they had a dream and they changed what kind of goal they had in the end. It's really nice. Yeah. Welcome, American man. Welcome. Yeah, exactly. So, and also don't forget, we have two things that I want to mention here. First of all, on Twitch, there are currently drops going on. So if you're watching on Twitch, you can actually just earn some in-game rewards. I think it's like a mini, it's an emote, and it's like an outfit that you can earn just for watching me and other Guild Wars 2 content creators that have drops enabled. So really, really nice. And other than that, we also have currently expansion sale going on. So up to 60% of the expansion prices are down. It's really, really good. Of course, not all of them are that low, but if you want to purchase any expansion, be sure to use my referral link if you want to support me. But right now is a really good time to get the expansion. That will be the last time of the year. Duh, makes sense. But yeah, I think it's like pretty much a well worth it package, especially if there are sales going on to get the expansions. Welcome, Stello. Welcome. I've watched quite a few of your videos and got a problem with picking a main for World vs. World, mainly playing solo or other content. Are you having some suggestions? So it depends a bit if you want to play in a Zerg or roaming, because roaming, I would say you can play every single spec. Like, there is not a single spec that doesn't work in roaming. By the way, thanks a lot for the sub. Really appreciate the Prime. Thanks a lot. And that is one thing that I would mention here. Like, roaming is very flexible. So play whatever you like in solo play, in PvE or whatever, and then you play that in roaming as well. That works quite well. We will do some roaming later. Other than that, I would say for Zerg play, it's really like there are some classes that are really shining crazy. I will do a Zerg tier list quite soon as well, and you will notice that some of the classes are like giga good, like really, really good right now. And then are some classes that I would never recommend. So for example, if you play Visions of Eternity and have that expansion, then for example, Luminary is great. Amalgam is great. Paragon is great. Troubadour is great. Yeah, there are so many of the new ones that are insane in Zerg play. And then there are some, for example, like most Thief specs are not that good in Zerg play. I would say most Ranger specs except Druid are not that great in Zerg play. So it's like really choose the class that you like, and I can tell you what kind of spec you should probably play in those game modes. But in general, it's like even the specs that are somewhat not perfect have at least one spec that you can play in Zergs, in roaming, and in solo open world stuff. So I personally would say choose in terms of class fantasy, and if you have made a choice, I can tell you what builds I would recommend. Is Tempest Heal good enough to play until tier 4 fractals and CMs? I would say so, yeah. I think like Tempest might not be like the most common and the most like, how can I say, broken healer right now, because look at Paragon, like putting out 12 wounds instantly almost is like, yeah, that is not the way with Tempest, but it's quite close, to be honest. It's just a lot of people like to play classes that seem to be like insanely good, like, and Tempest oftentimes is a little bit overshadowed by other classes, but that doesn't make it a bad build. I think especially in normal tier 4 fractals, Tempest is a very, very valid choice, like absolutely good. In some CMs it might have like a little bit of a disadvantage, but even there I think it's a good build. So yeah, if you're a Tempest enjoyer and you know what you're doing and you swap your utility skills and stuff around depending on the situation, I think it's a fine build. Might not be like rivaling a Chronomancer or like a Troubadour in a support scenario, but it's quite good. Yeah, it really is. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, have a great day as well. Yeah, I have. Maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't notice, I make a lot of tier lists on my YouTube channel, but over the last, let's say, month, I did not do that many. Yeah. So if you looked at my typical like tier lists, I had a lot of tier lists planned after Visions of Eternity, but with the balance patch on the horizon being like this week, I waited with some tier lists because that might have changed a lot. And it did, for example, for the DPS stuff. And therefore I really waited with the tier lists, and now you will see the last few days, let's say the last 2 weeks of December, I will put out quite a lot of tier lists, because that I want to cover all the different types of content that I have not covered before for the stuff after Visions of Eternity, and that's definitely on my mind, and there will be a lot of tier lists coming very soon. So if you enjoy that content, be sure to check out my YouTube channel for that. Yeah. How do you find Revenant at the moment? So Revenant for me is in a weird place. Revenant for me is a spec that I really enjoy playing. I made a video about it and talk about what Revenant has some issues and stuff, but on the contrary, what people wrote in the comments that I hate Revenant and stuff, that is not true. I really like Revenant. I think that is what people don't understand, is that I really like the class, and I just feel like it has some kind of issues, and I want to help ArenaNet figure out what I think are the issues and how to fix them, because I think Revenant has a big problem, especially in PvE, that it is somewhat niche. It is almost always a DPS build. Nothing else. There are healer builds, yes, but they are just underperforming in most cases. And I think Revenant in competitive modes, it's fine. It has somewhat similar issues that, like, especially in PvP, it's like PvP support, Vindicator and stuff like that. It can work, but it's mostly overshadowed. In general, Revenant is a little bit of a negative flexibility monster. It is always a very niche build that works very well if this niche is currently not filled or not like filled as good. But as soon as you want a build that is flexible or want to have swapping around and play a support, a DPS and an offensive support or something like that, then Revenant falls off quite a bit. And I really hope that they fix that. For example, healer Revenant builds, in my opinion, that they could improve on that with the upcoming reworks, maybe, hopefully reworks, we will see in mid-January. But I think Revenant is really fun to play. I really like all the Revenant specs in terms of how they play. I just really hope that they buff a little bit of the healing aspect of most of them, while also providing maybe some kind of more flexibility to at least one of them. I was really hoping for Conduit being able to be played as a healer or as a DPS or as a support, but right now it's just DPS and it's mostly only Condi. Yes, there is also a power build that works actually surprisingly well nowadays with the buffs to it. But yeah, I'm torn. That's the short answer there. I was even at the Gamescom they were talking about in 2010. Nice. The queues to play the demo were so long, I skipped them altogether and did the same in 2012. That's crazy. Nice. A friend of mine waited 5 hours to play in 2012 and the beta weekend was like a day later. No thanks. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, there you see how high the hype was. But I have to be honest. I really have to be honest. I think if they would do something like that right now, or let's say in a couple of years, and with a new game, I think it would be the same. I think it would be the same. There were a lot of like people waiting for this moment back then, and I think there are a lot of people waiting for that right now. I don't know. I really think that shows how well it's received ArenaNet, as a company. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Vindicator is a very fun build. I really like that just playstyle of Vindicator. I would say, for example, heal Vindicator in PvE is one of the worst healer builds, sadly. And I really like the concept of dodging on your players, like your allies. I think that's quite fun. But I don't know. For me personally, Vindicator is a spec that is like fun to play, but as soon as you force support on it, it gets really weird. Really weird. In competitive, especially World vs. World, it's a good healer. It's a good healer. But even in there, it has some issues. It's just a healer. It doesn't provide that many boons. It doesn't provide like revives and stuff. And that's stuff that is like typically on healer. You want to have that. So it's really, really interesting design already that it is like a healer that is a little bit different than others. And for DPS build, Vindicator is good. Like really good. I like Power Vindicator, even like the Solo Vindicator. There are so many options. It's a great pick all around. I just hope they would make a little bit more of like flexibility viable, maybe more CC on the kit, stuff like that. Why not? I think it would deserve it if you look at the other specs right now. They are just so overperforming, and the power creep, apparently they also just say, okay, for example, DPS builds, it's fine to have like 50k DPS nowadays. It's completely fine. That's why what most builds like should aim for, like 45 to 50k DPS. I think that's interesting decision for sure, and we have to see how they continue with that. It's so good that this is now a stun break for allies as well. It's such a good skill. Yeah, but if you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, just always say it. I'm always happy to talk about stuff and improve, of course. Yep, very good. Because you can break your allies out of stun with this. So that means that if they get knocked down here by the Bone Skinner because they just didn't sidestep the attack, you can just say, who cares? You know, who cares? You will just get like saved by me. Yeah, look, if they get knocked down. Very nice. Of course, that only works if they are in your party and in your subgroup. If there are enough other players around that are in your party, then you might not be able to get this done. But it's still a very, very nice like utility tool. Hopefully a better launch trailer for Guild Wars 3. The Guild Wars 2 one was incredibly bad. Yeah, so we mentioned this often on stream here, and I want to mention this here again, of course. Guild Wars 3 is not confirmed if you're a new player. It's not like on the horizon, I would say, or at least on the near horizon. So Guild Wars 2 is still a very worthwhile game to get into. But as soon as someone brings it up here in chat, I have a lot of theories about it and stuff like that. And I, of course, hope that the trailer will be better than Guild Wars 2's trailer, because, yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 had, especially in the beginning, like really bad marketing, like looking at the taxi ad or something like that. That was horrible, but it continued like that. Like, just, you know, I was fearing that with this video that they released and they hyped up with like the premiere on YouTube and stuff like that, that they were not doing the same mistake they did for the Iceblood Saga announcement. I just even remember the marketing for the Iceblood Saga was like probably one of the worst marketings I have ever seen in like anything. Like, it doesn't even have to be gaming, you know, just anything. They hyped it up, I think, for like a week or even longer, that there was some announcement happening in a theater for Iceblood Saga. Yeah, and everyone thought, holy moly, they will bring out a really big expansion announcement or something like that. Roy, back then, was even one of the players. He was not a developer back then. He even booked a flight from across the country to this theater, yeah, for this date, because there was a big countdown and everything. And people thought, holy shit, this will be amazing. I can't wait for that. And then they had an hour or so of an announcement, and half of this announcement was like more promoting of some kind of third-party collaborations, and Iceblood Saga was just like another Living World season. That's it. Even like I would say to some extent, a little bit of a smaller Living World season. It's crazy. It was absolutely insane. It was one of the weakest parts in the entire history of like Guild Wars 2 in terms of announcements and hype up, and then people were like completely disappointed after that. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah. Welcome, Booby. Welcome. As a completely new player, I really enjoyed your YouTube content. I hit a ton. Perfect. More to come. And of course, if you have anything that is not covered on YouTube yet and you feel like that a lot of people might get value from that, let me know. I'm always happy to put out content that you might actually find a lot of like reasons to watch. So just let me know. Yeah. Taxi ad was fire. It prevented more people from playing than all toxic players combined. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you see it that way, yeah, I guess that was a good ad then. But some, like, you could say some of it is cringe, some of it is just bad. But I really think the last like 12 years, the marketing was like pretty bad, like pretty bad. And I have to be honest, the last, let's say, half a year, starting with like, for example, putting more effort into the partner program, like where they put out, for example, when I got ArenaNet partner, there were a lot of other content creators getting into the partner program. And I think that's a very smart way, not only because I benefited from it, but also in general from a marketing perspective. It's like putting people into your program is almost no loss for your like financial things, and they produce continuous content, hopefully good content about the game, and market it on social media. I think that's a very smart way to just invest a little bit of their effort and get a lot of payoff. And I think that is a very smart way, and that was the start, I would say, in the middle of the year, when they continued with a lot of different things that actually helped the marketing, yeah, boosting like the Reforged stuff with Guild Wars 1, putting out like the crazy video about, like, let's say 1 hour video about the making of Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 and the whole timeline, while also pushing out the Games Award trailer and stuff like that. That is actually quite well made. So there is a lot of good marketing going on right now. I really think so. And I hope it continues like that, so that we not only get a new influx of players right now, but we also get a new influx of players over the next months, maybe even the next year, because they continuously push out marketing while keeping Guild Wars 2 alive and pushing out good new content. That is my big hope here. Yeah. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome, welcome. Loving your Amalgam build, and I'm doing Willbender next. Yeah, there are so many good ones. Amalgam is awesome. I have actually a really good one coming up as well later, in a couple of days. And Willbender is really good as well. There are so many good Willbender builds right now. For example, they fixed the bug with Willbender with the latest balance patch as well, which tyrants momentum and stuff makes it quite interesting to now play power or condition Willbender in PvE again. That's really cool. I think that was like an underrated build, how strong that one was. And or still is to this day, especially with the fixes to it. So if you're Willbender enjoyer, there's almost not a better time to play it. Yeah. If you can only do 3 gold farming methods, what methods would you prefer personally? So I personally would prefer fractals. I think fractals are a perfect way of spending my time without being too repetitive and having an interesting gameplay loop, being not too boring. Then I would probably do strike missions, because I feel like that's even better than fractals. You just hop in, do a couple of bosses and go out and get a lot of gold. I like daily stuff, as you can already see. And the last one that I would probably like a lot is some kind of like just maybe some open world farm, stuff like that. Maybe some meta events if I could choose, just like, I don't know, Octavine stuff in that direction. I really enjoy this type of gameplay. Those 3 I would probably choose, yeah. How important are weapon choices in Modern Guild Wars 2? Like, for instance, I like Condi Guardian, but don't like pistols. How much swords or spear compromise the damage itself? So if you understand that a weapon is power based or Condi based, that's already enough. So for example, pistols are Condi based, and if you want to play a Condi Guardian build, then I would recommend checking out the other Condi weapons, for example, an Axe or stuff like that. If you like Power Guardian, then you have Spear, Greatsword, Sword, Focus. There are so many different options that you could place in there. So I personally would say that is what you would typically have to understand. In general, the weapon choices matter if you want to go for the absolute highest DPS numbers, but for casual gameplay, I think understanding a build is focused around power damage or Condi damage, and then choosing the weapon accordingly, that's the only thing that matters. Yeah. Are there any good warrior builds, or is it in a weird spot? There are a lot of good warrior builds. I am just playing one right now. I think warrior in PvE is in a good spot, and World vs. World's in a really good spot, and in PvP it's in a weaker spot, but it's also okay there. Yeah, there are so many good ones. Just check out my YouTube channel. I have like at least 10 to 15 warrior builds that are really good right now. Like I said, link to it is in the spreadsheet in the YouTube description, or you can type !builds on Twitch to see all my build guides and see it in a nice spreadsheet, and you can just find it very fast. Welcome, Ham. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing fine. The marketing being bad is so puzzling. I went through all the old trailers, and while none of them hit like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy trailers, there are some really good ones. Season 4 and Heart of Thorns. Yeah, I think the Heart of Thorns one specifically, but also the Season 4 one with Galgatoric and stuff, they were really, really good. It's just really sad that they did not like benefit that much, yeah. But they did literally nothing with them, which is so bizarre. Yeah, I think they put a lot of effort into those trailers, and the players liked them at that time, or at least I liked them, but it feels like that they just like made a trailer for the sake of making the trailer, but did not market it enough to actually get value from it. It's really sad, and I hope they continue with what they are doing right now, that they make a nice trailer and promote it on multiple platforms, multiple like avenues where they like just get value from it. Yeah, I really hope so. After trying multiple classes with the help of the boosts, I ended up deciding to explore the game with Luminary as my main. Your video had too much. it's a cool patch. It's really good. It's like Luminary is like, even with the changes, or especially with the changes that they made with the last balance patch on Tuesday, there are so many ways to play Luminary. You can play a full DPS, you can play a liquidity DPS, you can play a healer. Luminary is so flexible. I think it's actually probably the best Guardian spec right now. Yeah, I really think so. 4-man Shiver Peaks the other day? Yeah, I mean, that sounds like an experience. I mean, you can actually solo this boss as well. It's like probably the easiest boss in the entire game for a 10-man instance. So I guess you didn't have that much difficulty. It just took longer. But good job there, Patricia. Good job. Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a good day. I'm having a good stream right now. Having a lot of like relaxing Winter's Day vibes, and we will also do some Winter's Day later. Yeah, it's just a nice time of the year. I really enjoy it, and I think Guild Wars 2 right now, like I said, is in a really good spot, not only because of the marketing, but also I feel like they try to put out balance patches and content, even the events, almost every single week, 2 weeks or something like that. It's good. Yeah, if you're a new player, currently there's this new player event going on, and we will even get like the balance patch in January. There probably will also be other, after Winter's Day is over, other events coming. So I think there is a lot of stuff happening, even though we don't get crazy new content. And don't forget, I will showcase this here. In 52 days, we will also get the quick play feature for raids, supposedly. Yeah. So there will be stuff coming for like the next few months, and I'm excited for it. Absolutely. If you only could play 2 classes for an entire year, what would that be? If it's classes, I would probably pick Mesmer and Elementalist, because they have the most amount of build variety, in my opinion, right now. However, I think it's for me, that would be borderline a reason to not play the game anymore. Because like if I had to pick only 1 class, I would probably not play the game anymore. But 2 is on the edge, I would say. Because for me, it's like choosing classes is like one of the things that is the most interesting. Classes, builds, I swap around every stream, every time I play something. Yeah, oftentimes what is this portal? So that is definitely something that keeps me entertained in the game. Swapping, like playing Paragon now, playing maybe Troubadour later, playing, I don't know, maybe even Chronomancer, playing Amalgam. There is so much different things that I want to play today, and maybe tomorrow it's different. So it's definitely something that keeps me entertained and is my main feature. But I would say Elementalist and Mesmer probably for me personally. I mean, what would be for you? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Specialized Evoker. Yeah. What's the best way to transfer gold between accounts? So you can send 500 gold per week, which is the fastest way if you have a lot of gold. You can use a guild bank, but it's really annoying. I think it's the best way is just sending mails, even though that's also annoying because of the 500 gold cap, and also like you can only send 2 mails per minute. It's really annoying, and then it has a recast. It's really bad. But in general, I would say, what are we doing? Aberstone, okay. In general, I would say mailing is the fastest way to transferring gold. Yeah. My main, I don't really have a main. I play all the classes. Before the expansion, I played a lot of Chronomancer, but right now I didn't even play a single, like, I don't know, I didn't play anything on Chronomancer since the expansion came out. So it's like I play everything. It's really too hard to choose a main in this game for me. I have 70 characters, yeah, so that probably says enough, yeah. I really like the new weapon skins from the new player event, but I have no clue how to get more than one. So you can purchase them from the trading post. I think they are called Daydreamer skins. I think those are the ones. And you can just, I'm pretty sure they are called like that because they have a different name for the item. But it might be wrong. There is something with day. I'm not sure how it's called. But you can get them from the trading post, the other skins as well. I've been playing since launch, but I've never tried a heal support in raids. Any tips on how to play it? I would say watch a video guide, or read a written guide or something like that about this, so that you can actually understand what the attacks do and what you should do. But other than that, I would say, personally, if you understand what the attacks do and a little bit understand what the typical loop of your rotation looks like and have the gear, just jump in, yeah? Just give it a go with the easy bosses, like strike missions, go into easy raid fights and stuff like that, and you will not have a problem. Healer in Guild Wars 2 is way less scary than it sounds. It really is. And I think it's a quite chill experience as well, because you never have to look at your DPS, you know? You can just like say, I care about the party spoons and the healing, yeah? I don't have to always like, oh my god, I just missed my burst window and now I'm really sad. No, you can just relax and lay back and say, okay, I put out boons now, and then I can like talk with chat, for example, for the next 10 minutes, because that's what you do as a healer. So I think it's surprisingly nice and easy to get into. You just have to jump in and get it done, yeah. Yeah, they're really flexible, absolutely. Yeah. What is the meta mailing rotation to optimize the cooldowns? So it's actually funny, because when I have giveaways and stuff like that, then I have to really make it so that you send 2 mails in the beginning and then you wait for 1 minute to send another mail. Because as soon, and that's the really annoying part about mailing things in Guild Wars 2 is, as soon as you send 2 mails, you go on a cooldown. And you cannot send another mail in this period. If you send another mail, or you try to send another mail in this period where you are on cooldown, the cooldown resets. So that means that you have to wait another minute after you tried it. It's horrible. It's really, really bad. So if you want to send mails for giveaways or something like that, you have to send 2 mails, wait until the cooldown is done, send another mail, wait until the cooldown is done, and send the mail. It's really, really bad. So that is the rotation there. Yeah, I know you meant it as a joke, but it's actually true. There is a rotation. What is going on? Does healer play more reactively than rotation based? Exactly. Healers in Guild Wars 2 is like you put out the boons in the beginning, and after that you try to keep up the boons and heal your party depending on the situation. So for example, if a boss requires stability, let's say 1 minute in the fight, you keep your stability skill until the stability is required. Or if there is a big burst of damage happening, you keep your big healing skills until this happened, or put out a barrier before then. So it's all about understanding fights and understanding your build and putting the reactiveness to use. Yeah. So if you're a healer and do your rotation, so to say, that you imagine that would be the best, and you miss the stability at the important time, that doesn't help anybody. So it's more about being reactive or proactive in that regard, but not being the most important one and pressing all the buttons of cooldown. That is not always what you should do. Thanks a lot, Chichlin. Really appreciate the Prime. Thanks a lot for your support. Let's go. Let's go. No, I don't want to eat. There we go. So let's get out the boons, and then we can, you see, I just concentrate in the first few seconds of a fight getting out the boons, and after that nice, the barrier saved them. They would have died. Very good. In my opinion, despite the nerfs NA put out, all classes are fairly equal, just are better at one thing while the others are better than another thing. Absolutely. I think that's the beauty of Guild Wars 2's balancing right now, especially in PvE. It's like you play what you want to play and you will have a good build for that. It really is like that. And the interesting part is that even in competitive modes where you would say, oh, competitive, you're playing against other players, you want to win and play always the absolute best builds, even there it's quite balanced. Like looking at all the classes, you have builds for every single game mode, but even looking at all the elite specs, you have good builds for every single game mode. So it's like, it's quite balanced, I would say. It really is. Yes, there are some outliers. I would say, for example, Conduit in PvE has insane damage numbers. I think they just forgot to nerf that one. But I still think it's quite well balanced. There is no negative outliers in my opinion. That is the best important part, yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Filthy. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. I'm leveling a range at the moment. Does it matter what weapons I use during leveling? No, not at all. You choose what you like. I would recommend for leveling in Guild Wars 2 because it's a rather easy and rather like fast thing to level in Guild Wars 2. I would say you just try out different things. Try out all the traits that you have, try a lot of the utility skills, see how they feel, how they play, and try out all of the weapon choices that you can have access to right now, and just have fun, enjoy it. And if you find, for example, that greatsword is horrible, you don't like how to play greatsword, and you way more like swords, then play swords, you know? If it's the other way around, if you have something else to play that, yeah? Just try everything. For leveling, I would say don't follow a strict guide or something like that. Just enjoy what you have, your time there, and try out different things. That is what I would recommend. And typically that will probably also lead you to understanding the class better, because oftentimes playing around with different things that the class has to offer makes you better at the game, better at the class, without even noticing. So that's why I always recommend that. And as soon as you hit level 80 or want to get into harder group content and stuff like that, you're looking at guides or something if you want to, and get the best builds for this content. Yeah, that is my recommendation. I will never understand why people choose to do set DPS during number phases. You don't need to move. Yeah, that is, it's really interesting. I mean, for me as a healer, I just move out because I don't care. My boons are, oh, that is a nasty banner. That's why I take banner. Very satisfying. But yeah, I as a healer, I can move out, but as a DPS player, you can just stand on the boss and like wait for like the number attack to start and then you move out. It's absolutely true. It's not necessary that you like move out and wait 30 seconds and do nothing. That's not good. But for a healer, I don't care. I can just move out and then people will not get like panicking, because my boons last forever anyway. And while he charges this attack, he doesn't do anything. It's like one of the burst phases, so to say, because you can just like, we will ignore everything that is happening. Oh no, a cold got you. That's not good. I guess a lot of people have cold during this time of the year, so yeah, you're not alone. But you will get healthy soon again. That is hopefully the way it goes. Colds don't last that long. Yeah. Best healer or boon for fractals or raids? It's hard to say. It is really hard. It depends on the situation. It depends on the boss. I have a whole tier list about what are the best healer builds and stuff like that. Check it out on my YouTube channel. But I would say for raids, there are a lot of good ones. For fractals, there are different ones. For like open world, I would not recommend playing a healer for most part anyway. And for boon DPS in general, there are also so many other tier lists coming up about it soon as well. It's just like choose what you like and you will have a good boon DPS build or healer build for the class as well. I personally would say Chronomancer is still one of the best ones. If you have absolutely no preference, I think Chronomancer is still a very, very good flexible healer. But there are so many other good ones right now. Just watch the video. It's more concise and I talk about it every single spec there. Yeah. Best healer for raids of fractals is Chronomancer. I mean, it depends a bit what you want to do. You know, for example, if you are a new player, Chronomancer loses a lot of its strengths because you have to understand that Chronomancer is good, but it's not the best in healing output. It's not the best in boon output. It's not the best in like possibly even like tankiness. So it's more like you play Chronomancer because Chronomancer has insane flexibility. But that means that you actually have to understand the boss, the mechanics, the fights, and of course also your own class. So I personally would say Chronomancer is really, really good, but you also have to be at a certain skill level to make use out of that. There are so many other good healers, especially the new Visions of Eternity specs like I'm playing right now. It's just like spamming a few buttons and having like 12. Why is this guy running? What? Why are you running? Crazy. But yeah, I would definitely say it's one of the beauties of Guild Wars 2 is that there is not a clear winner most of the time. It's more like best at certain thing in this moment. It's not the best at everything all at once forevermore. Yeah. Troubadour is also a really, really good healer. I've made a heal video about it. It's really, really good. It's really good in Fractals. I want to showcase it later in Fractals today. How good Troubadour is. It's really underrated. People don't give it enough credit. I think Troubadour is amazing. So yeah, definitely really, really strong. Do you think having a dedicated character for strikes is a good idea? It depends a bit what you mean with dedicated, but I would say if you have only one character that you play in strike missions, I think that can be fine because you save your food and stuff like that, but it's not like something that is like important in that regard. I think it's more important that you have a build that you play in PvE, and you might have a different character for World vs. World or something, because in World vs. World you might have different builds, and that means that you might want to get more equipment templates or build templates and stuff like that, and having a different characters negates that completely. So I personally would say that's more important than having a separate character for strike missions. But if you have the character slot, I mean, I'm always like a fan of giving like people the recommendation of getting more characters, because I have 70, yeah? So I think more characters is always good. Yeah, it is. Troubadour Paragon healing? They are quite similar, to be honest. Like in terms of like, I would say overall Troubadour is better as a healer, but in terms of raw healing output, I think they are quite similar. Because Paragon has the problem that it has not the insanest amount of CC, and it doesn't have any like big reflect abilities or stuff like that, which can be a problem in some fights. So I think Paragon, because of that, is a little bit weaker than Troubadour, but not necessarily in the raw healing numbers. Where's the video for the Bard healer? It's called Troubadour Heal. It should be on my spreadsheet as well. If not, I can link it to you after that. Give me a second. I will teleport to Wizard's Tower, and then I will look for the video. I will link it to you. Give me a second. But in general, most of the things should be in the thing. Where is it? Give me a second. So that should be the video for the healer Troubadour. I posted in the YouTube chat if you're wondering, for the people on Twitch. What medium armor classes healers would you recommend? So Druid is the only one for Ranger that is really good. And I would say Scrapper is probably the best for Engineer. And for Thief, it's Spectre. So you have 3 options. I personally would recommend, out of those 3, personally, I would recommend Spectre if you like Thief, because Spectre is really, really good. It's really underrated. If you don't like Thief as a healer, I think like Druid is really good in raids, and Scrapper can be really good in Fractals. However, I think like the medium armor classes are probably for Fractals specifically, probably rather weak. It's not horribly, don't get me wrong, but I think for Fractals, it's really like some of them, the light armor classes specifically, shine a lot. But I would personally say Spectre, Scrapper, and Druid seem the best out of the medium armor classes, for me personally. Yeah. Scourge is the only healer that's good for inexperienced people. Yes, I would say Scourge is the one that is quite good, because you just have to place your shade on your party, and that's about it. Everything else like is just pressing the buttons of cooldown, and you will probably fare well. But I think Paragon is really easy as well to play as a healer. I think Chronomancer is also quite easy to play as a healer, don't get me wrong. It's just like if you want to get the high value, why I put Chronomancer always so high in my healer tier lists, that is quite unreasonable to expect from a new player. Because it's way harder to get the boons out, for example, on a Chronomancer than it is on a Paragon, you know? If I press like 2 buttons on Paragon, I have like 10 boons to my party. If I do that on Chronomancer, yes, I get like 6, but they are only very short lasting. So I think that is why Scourge, Paragon, maybe even Luminary, those seem to be for me like very easy recommendations for new players. Nice, Ham. Very good, very good. I actually have I have 73 character slots. I just don't use them. It's like I have 1 for key farming, but 2 I just don't use. So yes, I noticed that I'm barely at the cap, but I don't know what else I would do with like more characters. I have 70 and I'm just too lazy to create more. Isn't Scrapper the best Fractal spec? I think it's very, very good, yeah. I'm not sure if it's the absolute best. I think it depends on what kind of role you want to fill, but it's definitely a really, really good one. Yeah, I agree. I've got 7k hours of Thief and have somehow never played Spectre for any length of time. I've set up the build. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. If you like Thief, it's really, really good. I personally am not the biggest Thief enjoyer, but Spectre is for me like insane. I really, really, really like Spectre. because it is so flexible, it has a lot of agency with its kit. You have CC, you have stability, you have healing, and you can play as a full DPS as well if you want to. It's just very, very flexible, and I really like that about classes. That's why I often pick classes that are very flexible in what they do. Yeah. No, it's not. Scrapper is not really like a big loser of like the last few patches. I think Scrapper, especially Heal Scrapper, is like always under the radar. People don't get that Heal Scrapper is a decent pick. It's not like I wouldn't pick it in raids or fractals just for the raw amount of healing, but I would pick it if you just want to have super speed, if you want to have an easy time, and like the engineer spec. Yeah, I personally think Amalgam can be played as a healer. I think that Mechanist can be played as a healer, but personally out of those three, I would rather have like a Heal Scrapper in most situations, because super speed is really like, it's a good boon or buff. Yeah. What would be your best current knowledge, the most survivable world versus world class spec combo? The most survivable, I mean, that would probably be some kind of support troubadour. It's really, really tanky in Zergs. You have like so much distortion and healing and stability and all that stuff. That's probably the most survivable, yeah. Just wondering if you knew the best SPVP reward track gold-wise. I personally would say like the Kanta one, if you ever plan to do a Generation 3 Legendary and craft then the Legendary and sell it, that is the most profitable. If you don't do that, just doing like, for example, the Thunderhead Peaks one or stuff like that and selling the materials. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. Do you think Berserker Greatsword needs a buff? I think in general it needs a rework to some extent. I think in competitive modes it's okay, but I think personally it should get a little bit of like help, because some of the attacks are just completely outclassed by almost any attack in the game. I think Greatsword on Warrior is like okay on a Berserker specifically, because the F1 hits very hard if you're in the Berserk form. But I think for a lot of use cases, that is not like what people want to play. They want to play different things as well, not only Berserker F1. So I think it needs some help, yeah, I agree. CC. That's what I mean. I'm not the best CC'er here, but my party CC's enough, that's good enough, yeah. What are your thoughts about Guild Wars 2's build theory crafting? I think it's one of the best parts about Guild Wars 2 is that you have so much theory crafting going on, and it's really like fun and like, how can I say, engaging. You have a lot of ideas and theories. You will see that later when I play a little bit of World vs. World as well. I have some really interesting builds that I want to try out there, and especially the relics helps a lot there. But what I don't really like is that a lot of times, I don't know, in PvP or for example, but also in World vs. World in a Zerg, the meta is often quite clear, and the meta specs are just a little bit better than the others, and you will always take those. Thanks a lot for the Prime, Mr. Sandalias. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. But yeah, I think personally for me, it's like the meta in the competitive modes is a little bit more rigid, but even there, the build crafting is one of the best components, what I like the most about the game. I have to be a bit careful. I have a lot of stacks, so I might die very easily from the attacks here. But yeah, I agree. Welcome, Haldir. Welcome. Good morning to you as well. I'm doing well, yeah. Scrapper for super speed is fun. Yes, it really is. It really is. I don't have a German channel. I only have this English one because I'm a content creator. I started like last year, so I'm not the like most committed content creator yet, or at least not longest in terms of like time that I put in yet. So maybe at some point, if there's really a lot of interest in making a German only channel, maybe that will be happening in the future. But I have to be honest, I think Guild Wars 2's community is not big enough to support multiple language channels. Yeah, you might think it's somewhat easy for me to make just the same video build guide in a different language. Yeah, sure. But the question is if it's even worth the time for the most part. So at the moment, I would say no. If the Guild Wars 2 community or for future games, maybe, yeah. But for now, I don't see it happening, to be honest. But maybe, yeah, we will see. Exactly, most Germans speak English as well, and it's just like you have way bigger audiences for just... I think we're done. Very good. For the same amount of effort that I put in, I get a bigger audience. For the most part, that's like the way to do it, I guess. Yeah. Hope you understand. And hopefully you understand my English as well. Good enough. Yeah. Why are they not just cheating? I never get this. You know, the commander writes very nicely, please GG. And they don't. We are missing some shards here. It's so nice. We would have gotten 3 more blue shards. I guess not. I guess not. I don't need them, but okay. You're one of the, if not the best content creator. Love how you explain builds and changes, ain't it does? I mean, I'm so happy to hear that, Ham. I really am. I hope I will continue to produce nice content for you. Sure. Trying my best, trying my best. Let's clean up the inventory and see what we can do after that. Do you think you're in the top % of English-speaking Germans in Germany? There's a stereotype that Germans are quite bad at speaking English. I think it depends a bit on the age group. Yeah, so if you're looking at Germans that are like above like 50, I think you are right. I think the English is horrible most of the time. If you're looking at Germans that are like around my age or even younger, I think it's quite likely that they will actually speak quite decently, at least most of them, because a lot of the times social media and stuff like that is in English, or they at least have some part of that in English. So personally for me, I would say, yes, I think it's quite right that the pronunciation, especially you notice it with me, is quite bad. But I think the understanding and how you can, most of us hopefully, can express themselves is actually not that bad. It's just what I see in my bubble, like, at least. Yeah. Most Germans I've met online just speak English. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just like a lot of times, especially in gaming, it's just like you have a very small bubble depending on the current, like your real native language. But the English bubble of the game is just the one that you mostly move in. Yeah. I'm a partner, Domenico. I'm a partner, yes. I'm very grateful for that. No, I'm not the commander, Filthy. I was not the commander. I was not this commander. I was just a random pleb in the party. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's see what we can do. We did the strike missions. I want to play quick heal. I want to showcase this. Let's do some Winter Stay action. Half the audience here and in the Discord is German by conservative estimates, I guess, yeah. So demand for a specific German channel is just not there, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly, you know. There would be people that watch my German channel. I think that is true, but they also watch my English channel. So I would just shoot myself in the foot for making my audience smaller by not speaking English anymore. That is the thing. Or at least I would be like a little bit, how would I say? Make more effort even if I do 2 videos about the same content in different languages. Yeah. What is the most fun profession for level 1 to 80 leveling? I would say it's not Mesmer. That's the only. I would say probably like Guardian is quite good, and probably Ranger and Necromancer. Those 3 seem to be quite. Necromancer is quite slow, but I would say Ranger, Guardian, maybe Warrior. Those seem to be very fun as a leveling experience. I think Mesmer is just the weakest because it has like a lot of utility and stuff like that you just, it doesn't help you in a solo scenario in leveling as core Mesmer. That's just my take there. Yeah, good point, Domenico. We'll probably do that after the stream. Good point, yeah. Yeah, I think I put it in the stream in the description that I'm a ReNet partner, but you're right, I should put my partner, some kind of like badge there. Yeah, good point. Due to Germans having rather hard pronunciation, the English is very clear for non-native speakers. More British English than slangish net speak. So you're fine? I mean, that's good. Good to hear. Yeah. Half German but can't speak German. I mean, it's fine, you know. It doesn't matter what you are. We embrace everybody here. Yeah, we embrace everybody. We have to hit some snowballs for the daily. Okay, we will do that. That's quite easy. Very good. Ah, that's what I meant. That's what you meant, Filthy. Now I understand. Yeah, a commander commands and not asked for it. That is true. That is obviously true. Yeah, you have to be like very, like, how can I say, commanding in your voices and your commands. Absolutely. Makes sense, makes sense. What do you think will happen to the blue shards and magnetite shards with the stride raid rework? That is one of the interesting things about the whole raid rework for me, because I have a decent chunk of blue shards. Like, I don't have that much raid currency. I have like, where is it? Somewhere. I have like 3.5 raid currency. That's not much at all. That will be done in like a couple of like, you can use that very, very fast. But the blue shards, I have over 10k, which is not too bad. Where is it? I always meant, where is it? Here, I have a lot of blue shards, and I'm not sure if there will be just legacy currency, if they convert it, if they make a new currency and delete the old ones. I don't know. We will have to see. But there will be probably one overarching currency. They did that with the green prophet shards, as you can see here. They were awarded for the latest expansion strike missions. But the last 2 expansions didn't have strike missions. So we never did get any green prophet shards. So they are just like a legacy currency. You cannot use it anymore, and I suspect that will happen to some extent with the others as well. Maybe they remove it completely and convert it 1-to-1 into the other one. Maybe you can convert it if you wanted to. Sometimes they do that. For example, I have only 128 legendary insights in here, but I have a lot of them in the bank. So I don't know. It's a little bit like, I'm not sure what they will do, but I suspect they will merge it and maybe will just make it so that you can convert it. Yeah, that is my guess. I don't have a main. That is true. It's like a rough accent from Germany is somewhat like Eastern sounding in Europe as well. That is true. Yeah, a lot of Germans nowadays speak a lot of different languages, at least the ones that you see online, yeah. I also speak multiple languages. That is true. At least I learned it in school and in like university and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. You should have much larger viewer count and following. I suggest to do that in a partner badge, because also in your stream title it doesn't say. But I mean, would you really put your like ArenaNet partner in your stream title? I think that is like, your stream title isn't that long. You know, you have a limited amount of length in your stream title. I don't know if that's the way to do it. But I'm pretty sure in my description it says that I'm an ArenaNet partner. I mean, there is a logo in my Twitch description. There is a ArenaNet partner logo. There is a logo in my Twitch description. There is a ArenaNet. Sorry, just checked. There we go. Yeah, it is there. I'm pretty sure. Rework when, what, how? I was on break for a couple of months. So with the next patch on 3rd of February, it's supposed to happen. You can see that here. 3rd of February, there will be a patch that will not have any new content in that regard, but it will have a merge of raids and strike missions into one new format. This will also come with a quick play feature similar to the Fractal quick play feature, which means that you will get probably the same currency for doing strikes and raid missions, and you will be able to hopefully also queue up for every boss single alone. So you can say, I want to do Sarah now, and you can do that without having done Twisted Castle or stuff like that. So that will be a very interesting feature. Of course, quick play will be interesting. So you can just say, I will want to do quick play right now, and you will be queued with other random people, and you will just get a very easy version of the fight. Stuff like that. It will be very interesting times. That will come all on the 3rd of February. That is the supposed date. Of course, that is subject to change, but it is quite likely that it will be there because they know what they are doing, hopefully. Yeah. So let me concentrate here for a second. Yeah, there are way too many currencies in the game. I'm with you there, Ham. I think that is like absolutely a big problem. Yeah, 3rd of February. I hope they will not only reduce the amount of currency for strikes and raids, but I also hope, and that's maybe a little bit too optimistic, but I also hope that some of the core, because it means core feature update, that it's not the only thing about raids, but it's also hopefully some other things. And removing or merging currency is, in my opinion, something that seems to be, like, for new players, very, very convoluted. And I hope they really remove some currency to make it less, just less annoying to deal with. Yeah. Yeah. What should I do on a daily basis while I'm still under 80? I would say while you're under 80, most of the time, just try to have fun. Like, the thing is, yeah, you could do some stuff, but to be honest, just get to level 80 as fast as you can while enjoying it. and that's good enough. Yeah, I think there's almost no reason to rush or to get stuff that you daily and weekly kept on, because most of the time you will slowly learn the game. And if I tell you what to do, you might be fine with it, you might not. But either way, I think it will probably be somewhat like too much for you to like do everything. So just enjoy it until you reach level 80, and then you can slowly go from there and say, okay, now I try to do this daily and to get a bit more gold. Then I will do this daily to get even more gold, stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I would do. You think the game is way overbloated in terms of not only currency, also the random bag rewards? Yeah. That is one of the biggest criticisms I get from new players, is that Guild Wars 2, especially the inventory management, is horrible. I have to be honest here. I think when I play a new game, like a new MMO, most of them have the same issue. You get like, if you look at your inventory, you have so much garbage in it and you don't know as a new player what to do. Like not a single thing that you do will let you know, delete this after you used it or stuff like that. And Guild Wars 2 has the same issues, maybe even worse than other MMOs, because a lot of times you get a bag, and in the bag there is another bag, and there is another bag, and then you salvage it, and you get materials out of that, and you don't know what to do with these materials. It's like Guild Wars 2 is horribly in that regard. But I think if you get to used to it, I as a veteran don't have a problem with it anymore, but I think for most new players it's really bad. So I really hope they will like decrease that. But I have to be honest, I don't see it. I think it's such a long-standing issue, and over the last years, they have not changed it at all. So I think they will try to do it with the currencies to some extent, but with the bags and stuff, I'm not sure. I really doubt it. Yeah. Do you know if the new ring is out or is it still coming? The new ring will be coming with the next update. At least that's what the roadmap said. So it will be in like 1.5 months. Yeah. So hopefully that will be a good ring and easy to earn for most players that want it. Hopefully with the quick play. That's my suspicion, my educated guess here. Yeah. There's almost no reason to rush to do dailies. Just find what content you like doing. Exactly. I think you just experience the game as vanilla as possible and just see what you can do. I think that's my big tip for all new players here in chat. Try to enjoy the ride while you are leveling for the first time. As soon as you reach level 80, I think the ride just really starts, and you try to play every single game mode, yeah, at least once. That is my big tip. I think not a lot of other content creators mentioned that, but I think that is really important. Like for a new player, get into PvP once, get into World vs. World at least once, get into Fractals, get into maybe even Strikes and Raids, open world, meta events, stuff like that. Everything at least once to see how you like it. Because maybe from the sound of it, you don't like it, but if you play it, maybe you like it a lot. So I think always try everything at least once. And you can already start doing that while leveling. For example, PvP is not locked behind level 80. You can start PvPing actually from the first level, but even after that, it's still worthwhile. Yes, you might get like farmed and lose, sure, but maybe you still enjoy it. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 PvP is one of the best PvPs out there. Yeah, so just wanted to mention it here. I'm close to on the Aqua Breeder now. Need those stupid clovers? Oh yes, clovers are an issue for a lot of players. Yes, I have a video coming up. It's also called Project Omega. So on YouTube, be sure to watch that. And I have a lot of issues with clovers in that one. So you will see that. Very interesting. Very interesting. Do you think they will add native controller support? They did it with Guild Wars 1, so it might be on the table for Guild Wars 2. I'm not sure if they want to, if they do it. That would be awesome in the core feature update. Maybe it will be coming with the next expansion if there's another one. They have not confirmed it yet. Either way, I think it would be a big benefit for a lot of players, especially Steam players. We will have to see. We will have to see though. I think for Guild Wars 2 it might be a bit harder to controller support natively than it is for Guild Wars 1. But I'm not a developer, so maybe they already have it like on the to-do list. We will see. We will see. So would you recommend to wait for the new ring and don't craft the second legendary ring right now? I think if you can afford waiting, I would say so, because the new ring probably will be bound to quick play, And typically things that is like bound to events are not too expensive. Like for example, the fractal gloves, but also the, how's it called? The prismatic regalia. So the legendary that you get from doing the return to achievements. Those are like quite cheap, or almost, they are essentially for free. And the legendary ring might not be for free, but it might be less expensive than a lot of the other rings. We will have to see. Could also be completely the opposite and could be really expensive. Like looking at the new legendary, it's the latest legendary. How's it called? Anka? Yeah. Like this legendary right now, 5.5k gold. Yeah, it could be the opposite as well. I personally expect the ring to be rather like okay to get. We will have to see if it will be more cheap or not. I guess it's a gamble. I have no more information than you. I cannot say guaranteed draft it now or wait for it. I cannot tell. I think it will be to quick play related though. So if you plan to not do raids at all, then probably craft the legendary ring right now. Yeah, dungeons can also be like quite fun to do, absolutely. Yeah, I like dungeons. So I cannot decide between maining Elementalist or Engineer. Do you have any insight on which one I should main? Is Elementalist that much harder? No, I wouldn't say so. I think both of them are, they have easy builds and both of them have hard builds. I personally would say play what you like. Both of them are good in all game modes. So it's like, I personally would say if you like to play a healer, Elementalist is the better option. If you want to be a DPS, both of them are completely strong right now. And both of them are really good in like PvP as well, or World versus World for that matter. So not a real winner there. It's more about what you like more. Both have complex builds for sure. Probably one of the most complex builds in the game are from those two specs for sure. But that shouldn't stop you from playing them, because maybe you like challenge, maybe you just like the flair of them. And they have easy builds as well. I have low intensity builds for both of them. So yeah, definitely maybe just give it a try if you cannot decide. I personally like Elementalist a little bit more just because I like the mage fantasy, but that's a very, very subjective take. I would not follow up on that. Just maybe you don't like that. Yeah. Glad to hear that, Kelly. Glad to hear that. Always happy. And we have more to come, Would be nice if the ring was linked to an event like the Fractal Gloves. I'm pretty sure it will be linked. The question is, will it be linked in a way that it is for free? Because that would be the third legendary that is essentially free. I highly doubt that, to be honest. I think they want to get a starting point, but they don't want you to like get every single legendary slot filled with a free item. I think that is not in their interest, because they want to make you spend gold and farm the game and not just farm specific events. I think that's why I probably expect it is bound to quick play, but also needs some kind of gold sink. I would be very surprised if it wouldn't need a gold sink. You can use the PvP lobby for all the builds. Absolutely, good point. You can also check out the PvP lobby and see how the builds feels and stuff. Of course, the balancing and the attacks sometimes are a little bit different there, but they are still somewhat close, of course, and look the same and stuff like that. So you can definitely try a build, try a class there. Good point. You don't have to level 80 there. You can go level in with level 1. Yeah. Release the secret information. I mean, I have to tease, you know. If I would always release all the secret information at once, that would be very sad, you know. No one would watch my videos anymore, you know. I'm already teasing you on stream, you know. You know more than the people that only watch on YouTube videos, yeah. So it's already like you are already in quite a good spot. So don't worry. It will be a couple more days. I have really spicy videos planned in the next few days. So wait a bit and you will see it. Yeah. Rifle Mag, exactly. Rifle Mag is one of the easiest builds in the game. And it's an engineer build. Yeah. Yeah, low intensity builds are really, really good. A lot of people really like builds that are low intensity and still perform very highly. We have amazing ones with Visions of Eternity. We have really, really good ones previously with Mechanist. There are so many good ones. Almost every single class, I would say every single class, but almost every single elite spec even has a low intensity build. So I made a whole tier list about it, and I noticed that there are so many different ones that you can play, and it's awesome. I think Guild Wars 2 is really, really fun in that regard. that there are so many different options. You can play like very complex piano rotations, or you can play very, very chill, laid back 1-button to 4-button rotations. It's really, really cool. I hope the new legendary accessory will be from new raid strike system. I'm pretty sure that the ring is confirmed to be released with the next update, and that's why I would suspect it's from the raid one, because we don't get any new map, so it's quite unlikely that it will not be like from the raids. However, we don't know if the next update after that will have some kind of like legendary collection bound to the new map, or maybe it's just using old features. We will have to see. Yeah, but I suspect the new legendary that we get with each update is bound to the update itself. So the ring comes out next update, therefore it's probably bound to quick play. Everyone scares people off with Elementalist difficulty, but really if you just spend time on it, it's not bad at all. Yeah, I agree. I think Elementalist has more text to learn if you want to learn every single one of them, but you have a lot of values and a lot of things that Elementalist make it also quite easy. Yeah, you always have multiple healing skills on Elementalist. No one talks about that. So necessarily, it's oftentimes the case that if you get hit on Elementalist and survive, you can just heal way faster back up. And I don't know. I personally think Elementalist has a lot of advantages for new players and like players that are looking for an easy build as well. So definitely, if you like the gameplay or the look of it, the fantasy, be sure to give it a try. It really is not that bad. Yeah. Exactly as Snowdrop puts it out. Yeah. Since we already have Ring from raids and 2 accessories from open world, I hope they will swap game modes with the new ones. I hope the new legendaries are a way for players to to get it differently. Yeah, I am agreeing with you there. Absolutely. I am a little bit concerned because tell me the last legendary that was bound to a single game mode that is not PvE. Yeah, the last World vs. World or PvP legendary is like years back. Like it's really, really old. So I'm not sure if they don't want to do it anymore or if they just think it's not the smartest idea. But I have to be honest, I have my doubts that there will be a World vs. World or PvP legendary coming. I think they just accepted that a lot of the player base plays PvE mostly, and therefore they give what like most of the players want, and that's PvE legendaries. We will have to see. We will have to see though. I would like that. I play all game modes. Just saying, from the pattern that emerged over the last few years, it seems likely that they will not do a PvP or World vs. World legendary. Yeah, I actually agree. I think like having a legendary bound to an event that is currently happening, for example with the like quick play raid event or something like that, and having a little bit of gold to like that you have to put in, I think that is fine. I just don't want only 3 legendaries, because I think it's nice to give 1, 2, maybe 3 legendaries, like legendaries that you don't have to spend gold on. That's what I mean. Time, yes, but no gold. I think that's fine. But as soon as you can get like the full legendary armor, for example, or getting like the full accessories or full trinkets without having to spend gold, I think that would completely crush the market and the economy. And I think that's not what you want. You want to have a stable economy, and therefore I expect that they want to have some kind of gold sync with the new legendaries as well. That is, I would be very, very surprised if they would not continue to make gold syncs like that. If you could add a new weapon to the game, what would it be? It would be a sight. I really like sights, like Reaper's sight just for every class. Yes, it's somewhat similar to some of the staff skins, yes, sure, but I personally really like sights. I think that's one of the most interesting weapons to use. Yeah, I would like that. Does anyone know the Junker Wilds Deluxe upgrade will be on sale at the Gem Store? Typically until Tuesday. Typically every Tuesday they swap the things. So a couple more days, I would guess. What do you guys think about Specialized Element Evoker being able to weapon swap? I think that would be game breaking. I think they would not like to do that. I think it's too strong. In PvE, it's crazy overpowered as it is, or still very, very good. Even after the nerfs, it reaches really high numbers. And having weapon swap in competitive modes on Elementalist would probably break every single thing. So I think it's a cool idea on paper, but it's probably not feasible. Sadly, yeah. I'm new. I'm playing since one month. I have all the expansions. Nice, we did it. That was nice. Nice and quick. We like it. Very good. I have all the expansions except the last 2. I'm trying all things, but don't know what I should focus on. So you have 1 million karma. I would just keep it. 1 million karma is a lot for a new player, yes, but you need a lot for legendaries and stuff. And if you want to get legendaries and stuff, or just skins, you will need like karma, other things as well. So I personally would say, if you like the game, just play, like I said, every single game mode, try what you can find and what you enjoy, stick with it. If you don't enjoy it, go to something new. And I personally would also say, like, karma is one of the currencies. If you don't need it, you can convert it. I have a gold guide on my YouTube channel that says how to convert karma into gold. That is possible. You can get gold that way. But I have like 42 million karma, which is not that much. There are people that have way more. But if I would convert this amount of karma, I would get like 500 gold or like maybe 1000 if I'm lucky. But this is really like hard to farm that much karma in a short time. So I would rather save my karma and just like use it when I need it, but don't like waste it on stuff that I don't need it for. Yeah, that is my tip as somewhat as a veteran that knows how to deal with karma, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people like the site or some kind of dervish idea. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people like that. Yeah, that's true. I actually like playing Spectre. That's a good point. Good point. Just got my first character to 80 and bought the Elder Dragon Saga Complete Edition. I feel pressured to buy the newest expansion also because of Galeshot, as I love the Archer theme games. But notice that most good builds of Untamed and Soul Beast don't really use Longbow. Any tips? So, the thing is, Longbow on Ranger is one of the weapons that is rather weak compared to a lot of other weapons on Ranger. Why is that? Because Ranger has insanely good weapons. I will swap to my Ranger and you will see that. You have so much different weapons on Ranger. Sword is good as a power weapon. Hammer is good as a power weapon. Shortbow is good as a condi weapon. Axe is good as a main and offhand as a power weapon. Dagger is good as a condi weapon. Greatsword is not that good. Mace is good as a power weapon or a healing weapon. Staff is good as a healing weapon. Yeah, Spear is good as a power weapon. So Longbow is just like completely outclassed in PvE by almost every other power-based weapon. With the exception of on Galeshot. Because Galeshot has really nice skills that can make use out of a single burst combo with rapid fire into 4 and 5 and swapping on your Cyclone Bow. All the other Ranger specs have the issue that if they use their burst attacks on Longbow, they have to auto attack, and the auto attack is quite weak on the auto attack on Longbow. So that means that if you are a Soul Beast and Untamed, you typically don't use Longbow because you get stuck on a bad auto attack. On Galeshot, you can swap into your third weapon, which is the Cyclone Bow, and that's exactly what you do. You use your Cyclone Bow attacks, and then you swap out, go to Longbow, and typically weapon swap. Use the weapon skills there, go into Cyclone Bow. Then you repeat this pattern, use your weapon attacks, swap to Longbow, use your Longbow attacks, go into Cyclone Bow. And therefore you're never stuck on your bad auto attacks, you're always using crazy hard hitting attacks. Therefore, Galeshot is extremely good with Longbow, also because you have Mistral, which amplifies your damage for each projectile that you shoot through. So there are a lot of intricacies, while specifically on Galeshot, Longbow is really, really good. It doesn't mean it's bad or like horrible bad on Soul Beast or Untamed, but it's definitely a weaker option compared to other options. I hope I made that clear. But yes, if you like the Galeshot fantasy, sure, get the expansion. Of course, if you want to support me, use my referral link. But you can also wait a bit on maybe next. We have to probably wait a couple of months until it goes on sale. But at least you. I personally would say it's definitely well worth the money, even for the full price. Just saying, of course, I'm a content creator that likes the game, but in general, I would personally say it's a good expansion and well worth the money. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that the Ranger bow fantasy is really just Galeshot mostly, and the others don't really make a lot of use out of that, sadly. There is a double Longbow build for Ranger, but it is somewhat like niche. I'm not sure if you would pick that build in like most fights, especially if you need cleave. I think it's way worse. So personally, I think you can make it work. Not saying it's horribly bad, but it's definitely not always the top tier pick. Yeah. Alacrity on Boon Chrono doesn't... Wait. Your alacrity on Boon Chrono, I can showcase this, give me a second, drops because you have a specific trait on Chronomancer that reduces the duration of alacrity on you, but gives more value from it. So you have this trait called improved alacrity, which means that your recharge speed on alacrity is 50%, but the duration is decreased by 33%. That is a net gain for you if you can upkeep alacrity permanently. If you struggle with that, you can swap, for example, to Danger Time to get a little bit more damage on Boon DPS Chrono. But keep in mind that in an ideal case scenario, you will have 120 to 140% uptime of alacrity if you follow the rotation perfectly. And then you get more damage with improved alacrity. Let me hydrate for a second. But yeah, so in general, if you drop alacrity, that means that if you're on alacrity DPS Chronomancer in PvE, that means that you either do the rotation not correctly, or that you might want to swap off of improved alacrity so that you guarantee that you will have 100% alacrity, because it's really important, because you're missing 15% crit rate in the time where you don't have alacrity. So always having 100% alacrity is on Boon Chronomancer specifically like one of the most important boons. So really like take care of that. Yeah. I have my keyboard setup is just the normal one. I the default setup for the most part. However, people always ask me, how can you press the 0 button? Yeah, with having your right hand on the mouse. That's almost impossible for me. Yeah, it is. It's impossible for me either as well. So how do I do it? I use my MMO mouse. But that is a link to it is in the description. But the thing is, it's not necessary. It helps, yes, but it's not necessary. If you want to play optimally, I would say bind your keys 6 to 0 to buttons that are close to your WASD. Yeah. So if you play, for example, like Chronomancer, you have F1 to F5 keys, and you should bind probably your healing skill to your elite skill and utility skills to buttons that are close, or use alternate keys. So for example, Control, Shift, Alt, those buttons, and do that with, for example, Control 1, Control 2, Control 3 would be, for example, your utility skills or something. I think that is the way to do it if you don't have an MMO mouse. If you do, I think it's very easy, because you have a lot of access buttons on, or additional buttons on your mouse. But of course, not everybody does. Yeah. So just mentioning those two methods. I have a full video how my specific setup looks like on my YouTube channel. It's a rather old one, but it's still the same thing that I do. So that can be worthwhile to watch for you. But of course, I would say everybody has a different idea, and you should just find a way to make every single button, especially also special action key, accessible for you so that you can press it in the heat of combat. And if it works for you, just train to get those button presses correctly. Yeah. I also like to have, for example, looking back button. I like to have like a about face button where I can swap my characters, like rotation, so I can run away and use attacks, yeah, stuff like that. Or yeah, just those are important buttons that I think are quite helpful. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've thought about it, Patricia. I've thought about it. Yeah. Love Rival Mech Alacrity, rather the old build for it. Today most groups have one or two that have consistent alacrity. Yeah, I think consistent alacrity and quickness is very important. I think I would rather have a DPS build, or alacrity quickness DPS build that does a little bit less DPS but has 100% uptime, than having a high DPS build, quickness DPS build or alacrity DPS build that does only 80% uptime. And that's why I think it's very important that you understand why you drop alacrity, especially in Boon Chronomancer. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree that an MMO mouse is very helpful, but I really want to mention that it's not necessary. Yes, it is very good, but it's not necessary, because I think it's really important that you are not forced to use a specific gadget or hardware to play the game, because Guild Wars 2 is quite accessible. You know, there are a lot of, like we mentioned earlier, low intensity builds for Guild Wars 2. And those builds you mostly play without pressing even any of the elite, utility, elite skills, professional mechanics often. So oftentimes you just use your 1 to 5 keys there. And in those builds, why would you need an MMO house? And I think that is really important to mention that it's not necessary. But I can really recommend getting one if you want to really try hard, because it helps a lot for this specific scenario, for sure. You can learn obliterate in PvP, but I think the problem with obliterate in PvP is that I oftentimes don't get as much value as I needed. Yeah, I can run that, but I personally really like to have another stun break, and I think this build already has, via the traits, insane amount of damage. So having a one button that does decent damage, sure, and destroys the barrier is great, but I oftentimes see myself more in a defensive playstyle than needing more offense, if that makes sense. But we will have to see. We will have to see. Maybe you're right, and maybe after this match I will tell you, oh my god, I would have liked Obliterate here, but we will see. Glad you like my YouTube content, Simon. Really appreciate it. And more to come, more to come. So, do we push far? I guess our ranger pushes far. Okay. Okay, we have an evoker, but it's a water evoker. Okay. They are cooking. Water evoker. Let's see how it goes. If they have used all their stability, then I will use my elite skill. We should probably I mean, we have to focus this guy 100%. Water evoker is the target. You know, they have insane amount of healing if we cannot like consistently press this. Okay. I have to be a bit careful here. I got a lot of bleeding. What? Like, there are a lot of people here. That's the issue. I will catch up on chat after this match. I don't want, or like when I have time during the match, but I don't want to like waste my waste my rating here just for reading the chat. Keep that in mind. I will catch up after this. What is that? Hammer evoker. Like they are cooking like crazy. That's insane. I mean, we should win this 2v2. Oh, it's not a 2v2. It's a 2v4 now. Not good, not good. We have to like play it safe here. Let's go aggressive. Let's go aggressive here. I mean, if we win this, that would be awesome. Like we have a nice support here. We have like a 5v5 here, and we have the side nodes. Looks good. It looks good. Nice, we got him. Yeah, Harbinger in this meta is not that fun. Yeah, not that fun. Okay, we got this guy as well. Very good. Looks good. I like it. Oh, okay, this guy is running back in. I guess that's interesting. How many evokers do they have? 2 evokers? And now they are dead. Okay, I guess that's okay. Any must-haves from the Winter's Day event, or can I just skip it? I think the Winter's Day event doesn't have like insane like rewards. They have some nice skins there, but nothing insane. So if you don't like it, you can skip it without a problem. So let's help this guy just because there might be some respawns coming. But yeah, I think the Winter's Day event, Winter's Presence, for example, is quite nice as skin, but just any must-gets? No, not really. Yeah. I think Alacrity Bladestone is really decent, very high DPS, and you can get CC with kick. I think Alacrity Bladestone is decent. I think it still struggles for, like, it doesn't have, like, insane amount of, like, utility in the kit. Oh, we have to be careful. But it's a good build. Yeah, I think it's a good build. How many people? What? They just... Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good build. That's a little bit annoying. Yeah, I will leave this. I'm not sure if I can win this 1-on-1. But yeah, I think like Alacrity Bladestone is underrated. I think it has not as much CC as, for example, a normal Bladestone does, like a full DPS Bladestone. But it's an underrated build. Yeah, absolutely. And it does really high damage, like really high damage. Yeah, I don't know what is going on with the Hammer Evokers. Maybe that's the next level cook here. But I don't know. What are they doing? Now I'm dead. What is the CC chain? It's like the dagger evoker. And they don't even keep the node. What are they doing? It's insane. Now they get the cap. It's fine. No, they didn't. Maybe. No, we almost got the pull. If you don't like Winter's Day events but want the rewards, I'm finding that the PvP reward track is giving more than enough. Yeah, the PvP, or in general, every time there is an event like Super Adventure Box, like Winter's Day, Halloween, if you like to get the rewards of the specific time event, then you can just farm World vs. World or PvP reward tracks. You will get some of the rewards, not all of them, but some of them from the reward tracks, which is obviously quite nice for people that don't like the specific event. Absolutely. Yeah, I spent a lot of gold in the last few days on a very secret project, Project Omega. Video about it coming very soon, but I spent a lot of gold on that specific project, and that made it so that I have almost no gold anymore left. Yeah, it is true. It is true. I'm a pleb now. I don't have that much gold left. I think that's a nice 2v2 here. Is it a Condi Harbinger? That's really surprising. Okay, I mean, you will take this. You take this. We have to get a decap, otherwise we will be a little bit sad. Ooh, that was a little bit painful. That's okay. That's okay. Did they get the thing? No, we didn't. That's good. You've got to ignore the toxic people. Don't let them spoil your experience. Exactly. I think Guild Wars 2 has a very nice community in most game modes. However, if you play World vs. World PvP, you will, even in PvE, you will encounter some people that are just not nice. It's just, it always happens. It's an online game after all. So I personally would say just ignore them. Maybe block them. Just ignore them. And then you will probably have a way better experience. Good point, yeah. Think it's worth stashing some gathering tools that give snowflakes for later once the event ends? Yes, I think if you want to get some extra gold and don't have gathering cliffs on your normal gathering tools yet, then it's definitely worthwhile to get some of those. Oh my god, they got the buff as well. It's a little bit annoying. It's the Earth Evoker. That's fine. Yeah, but I really think that having some gathering tools that give you at least something, anything. What is this guy doing? Like, okay, we should like get a lot of damage here on this guy. Get the cap as well. Okay. I don't like this. I don't like this. I really want to push far, to be honest, but okay. I'm not sure if that's like a good matchup for me here. Oh, there are so many people here. I'm not sure. Not sure. Yeah, that wasn't that good, to be honest, but I died on note. That's okay. What's your favorite non-German foodie in Germany? I really like that. I'm such a weird German. People in chat will that will be probably the hottest take I've made on stream ever. But I'm a German that doesn't like German food. I'm not the biggest fan of German food. I really find it a lot of times it's really like fatty and just not really that tasteful. I really like more, I don't know, spicy dishes. I really like, for example, Indian cuisine. I really like, for example, a lot of Asian cuisine in general I like. there is so much like about like the different spices and stuff that I like that we don't use in Germany. I like Italian cuisine a lot. So there is almost, you could probably tell me a specific like type of, oh my god. Do we have a banner here? We don't have a banner. If you have any type of food that is probably well spiced and just not only fat, then probably I would like really like it. Yeah, it's really, really weird. Yeah. By the way, if you have any questions and I just missed it because it's like I'm too concentrated on the game or just missed it in general, don't worry, just ask again and I will get back to the question. Yeah. I've tried Berserker, Reaper, Untamed and they don't come close to Mechanist. Am I doing something wrong? It's just like those are harder to play. Yeah, builds that are harder to play are typically performing worse in the beginning. You just have to slowly get there and get better at it slowly. I think I win this matchup. I think I win this matchup. Yeah, even better. I got the guy off point. That was a bit of a nasty 101, I have to be honest. But I think we lost the match though. We have to be really, really careful now to win this match. Like, don't do a single mistake anymore, but it doesn't look that good. Yeah, it's just like, if you... Mechanist is very easy to get to the highest level, whereas on the other specs you have to perform way more and get a way... I don't know. This guy has a lot of CCs, it's really annoying. Maybe we win this matchup as well. Let's see. That was a very, very lucky timed eviscerate. So I think we now have our burst time. That's good enough, I think. I think we win this 1-on-1. We are also holding the node, so I'm quite happy in this regard. Get this. Oh, he's in Rampage. That's not good. That's not good. I think we can still win this. We just have to be a bit careful here. Holy moly. Getting CC changed. That was annoying. Yeah, I mean, we lost the match anyway, so it didn't matter. But you see, I'm not good at Amalgam. That's what you can see here most of the time. But that's also like a side-noting build. Could have kited that more. I thought I actually win this on node even. Bit greedy. Yeah, but I love spicy food too. You would love Mexican food? Yeah, Mexican food is one of my top tier picks as well. Yeah, I just like all the different nice spicy food. Yeah. I mean, it's my first loss in the placements. That's okay. We take that. I'm still learning Amalgam, by the way. So that's good enough. Yeah. Yeah, Thai food, like Chinese food. There are so many good ones, yeah? German food is so boring compared to that. That's the main issue here. That's the main issue that I have. It's just not exciting. Yeah. I think it's worth the grind, yeah? I think it's worth, if you like to get better at a specific build, I think it's worth getting to know Berserker, Reaper. All those builds are amazing. You just have to put more effort in and then it's worth it. I really think so. Yes, Mechanist might have really high numbers in most cases and it's quite easy to play, but I think it's, for most players, it's probably fun to have a new build and you can try it and get slowly better at it and get even higher numbers than Mechanist. Yeah. What's your peak rank? My highest rank was, I think, 27 or something at some point at the end of the season. I never really cared too much about rating because I just play to have fun, and that often involves playing different builds and not being always the best at it. So I think if I really wanted to try hard, I think I could get into the top 10 if I wanted to, but I think that's nowadays, it doesn't really matter. Guild Wars 2 is not a PvP game, at least not for tryharding like players. It's not. It's fun, but it's not insane. Yeah. Yeah, German food is somewhat like UK food. I think that's probably describing it quite well. Thanks a lot, Kalo. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the prime. Thanks for your support. But yeah, I think German food is more like, oftentimes German food is just quite straightforward, somewhat plain. And I'm not a big fan of that. I like to have various, like I like to have an explosion of different spices in my mouth. So that's why I think like all those really like, let's say Mexican and Asian types of food, I would say almost across the world, across the globe, there are more spiced foods than in Germany. Like Italian food as well. Italian food is not as spiced as like spicy as other food, but it has also really nice flavor stuff. So I would say probably if I would have to choose what kind of like foods I wouldn't really like that much, that's way easier for me than to choose a food type that I actually want to like eat all the time, because there are so many that I could choose from. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Snowdrop. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, you can just join our guild. You can write me in-game. You can write me in the Discord server that we have, and I will invite you to our in-game guild. It's more like a glorified chat room, but maybe in the future we will do some guild activities together as well. Yeah. Yeah, just keep in mind in general, like if you want to get questions answered, especially as a new player or something, getting into, for example, our Discord server, or just asking in the comments, or even getting in the in-game guild is always a big helpful thing. Yeah. Should we do some fractals here? Should we do some fractals on Troubadour? I guess we can do that. So let's play some Troubadour. I really want to play some more Troubadour because I really think it's a good build. I really think so. I have one question. Sure. Should I worry about crafting as a new player? So crafting as a new player is something that is... I think you don't really need it in most situations. You can get some gold out of getting your crafting, especially Jeweler to 500. That can make you some daily gold. But for most new players, I think it's like ignore crafting until you get to know the game a lot and want to go for legendary or something like that. That is my recommended way of doing it. I think crafting nowadays is way less important than it was in the beginning of the game, because there are so many different ways, for example, to get ascended gear. Sometimes you can even get legendaries without crafting a single thing. I don't know. I think for me personally, crafting is not the main focus in Guild Wars 2 PvE anymore in the end game. So I think you can easily skip it. Yeah. 1 second. I want to play a Troubadour. To get an invite, you can write me like to my Guild Wars 2 account name that you can see here, or you can write me also in my Discord and I will invite you to the guild. Yeah, exactly. My favorite fruit is fruit salad with mint garnish. Exactly. You know, inside choke, of course. That's the healing food in Guild Wars 2, and that's obviously my favorite food because I always play this class. You know, absolutely. Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, I'm no. There will be some interest in an A guild as well. We will see. Hopefully next year we can make that happen. Yes. Yeah, crafting in Guild Wars 2 is like, I wouldn't say necessarily that it's annoying per se, but I think the crafting is just outdated. Guild Wars 2 crafting, in my opinion, is something that... Wait 1 second. There we go. Yeah, sure, you can get a guild invite. There we go. So, personally, I think crafting is outdated. Yeah. In the beginning of the game, the crafting was like, I wouldn't say a key endgame activity, but you could at least make either a lot of gold with it, you could use it to craft some specific items, you can sell it. It was quite like active, and now it's like a couple of players that do that for profit, yes, but I think the biggest part of the community just engages with crafting on a very, very sparse basis. So I think crafting is just because it didn't get any overhauls with the time, it maybe have been sped up, some of the crafting aspects, but not a lot. So I personally really think that crafting is just mostly outdated. That is the main part. Yeah. Yeah, I really think Troubadour is really like, it's really noticeable for sure in PvP. But I think it's fine. It's still a good build, and it was really, really strong. I really think so. Honestly, don't remember leveling any crafting professions. Yeah, it's like you did it probably in the beginning of the game and then you never touched it again, because crafting in Guild Wars 2 is like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like that important. Yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, I mean, cilantro lime sous vide steak sounds like an interesting, I mean, they have really interesting like names and they sound actually quite good, to be honest. I have to be honest, I never ate any of those because they seem, especially Ascended food, seems a lot of, how can I say, they seem to be very, very like high-end foods. Yeah, I really like the pre-stack on Troubadour. It's like it's so good. Like having like 30 seconds of quickness pre-stack. Of course, I cannot pre-stack Alacrity on Troubadour specifically, but I could swap to Chronomance and do that as well. But nah, let's don't overdo it. What are you saving those potions of karma for? I just don't like to always open them. So I'm not really saving them for anything. I just don't like to open them or like, how can I say, single use. I like to just have a stack of them. And if I have 250, I can open and press right click and say consume all. And then I will have like 2 clicks for the whole stack instead of like doing it like, I don't know, 50 times instead. That is the whole reasoning. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. You could make endgame gear with pre-ascended? Exactly. Exactly. Personally, only played Guild Wars 2 and WoW. Both crafting systems are pretty lackluster, but I think that crafting is kind of an accessory or relic of other games. Yeah, I agree. I think crafting, I don't know. I think the only game that has a rather interesting crafting system from MMO side is probably Final Fantasy XIV, which has a more active crafting process. But even there, I would say it's like most people don't engage with it because it's just a very niche activity. I don't know. I feel like crafting is something that is like either you like it and you probably like it either way, or you don't like it because you want to have more active gameplay. I don't know. For me personally, I think it's quite hard to make crafting interesting to everybody. I really think so. Yeah. That is like what I would like. I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard to make a perfect crafting system. At least I would not know how to do that. Yeah. Yeah, crafting is for consumables and skins, and like also like runes and relics and that kind of stuff. So stuff that you would use to build craft. It's not really that important anymore for getting the best in slot gear, because most of the time you can get ascended gear rather fast, yeah, nowadays. I think ascended gear crafting is something that I would not recommend ever anybody to do, because it's just not the best value that you can get. It's quite expensive for what you actually get for it. Ascended crafting stuff is not the best way. Yeah. If you open them every time you get them, you have to deal with inventory management. Exactly. It's the same with for example unified gear, exactly, and other bags, stuff that I get very regularly. I just put at the bottom in my invisible slots, and then I just open them when I have a full stack. I do that with, for example, fraction encryption boxes, blackline keys, okay, blackline chests. Of course, I don't open them all the time, but I would save them. Stuff like that. Yeah, 100%. I think inventory management in Guild Wars 2 is not something that I really am annoyed with. I know a lot of people are annoyed, but I'm not. I think I just want to be efficient. Yeah, I don't want to waste my time on stuff that I could just do in one big chunk of opening at the end of, I don't know, my run or a week or something like that. Yeah. I always wondered if Arena had hired a chef to help them with their consumable recipes. It's honestly very, very impressive. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, a lot of people nowadays like to cook themselves. You know, you don't have to be like a pro at cooking, or like how can I say, a professional chef. Maybe you just like to cook in your spare time. I think that seems to be like the case. So maybe someone at ArenaNet does that and they like to do that. Or maybe there was really a chef involved, who knows? I think they have a lot of details in very, like, some of the things, they are very detailed, yeah? Like, there are so many examples, and I think ArenaNet is, like, quite known for their love to the detail, yeah. At least I think so, yeah. I don't know. I'm not that much into like TV shows or like anime or something, so I'm not the best fan to ask like with sites. What is a good like movie or stuff where I think like a site is really cool? I don't know. I personally think it's more like the fantasy that I enjoy. It's not really only about some kind of real idea that I have in mind. It's more like maybe some kind of fantasy that I saw in books or something, like a side wielder, some kind of reaper. This kind of idea I really like, a dervish. That is why I like sites. It's not really like a clear class that I imagine like from a movie or TV show. It's more like just a fantasy that I heard and like read about or something. Yeah. Okay. Sure. A question. If you need to craft the legendary equipment, would you go in to accessories, armor? For vanities, I'll go with accessories because armor can be changed by skins. Am I right? So you're right that accessories are a good thing to craft, but you're wrong in how armor works. So in Guild Wars 2, armor is like split, like in a lot of other games. You have armor with the value, with the real gear stats and stuff like that, which you can get ascended and legendary and exotic, for example. But for example, you can see here, this armor piece that I have is a legendary armor piece, and it's called the Ardent Glorious Crown. I have multiple pieces here, but that's the one that I have here. And it has the skin on there, which is called Immortal Fire Halo. So there is a skin section, and there is a specific section that is for the actual value of the armor. Why can people not wait for the pre-stack? I don't get that. I just press like 6 buttons and they cannot even wait for those 6 buttons. Please. But yeah, I think in Guild Wars 2 you have to understand armor is always split, and weapons as well, between stats of the gear and the actual skin. The skin is only cosmetic, whereas the armor piece and the gear of the weapon and the stats that they provide is from the weapon itself. So you can have a legendary weapon, legendary armor equipped, and that has like the most basic skin on top of that. That can be the case. Yeah, Soul Eaters are good, definitely. Soul Eaters are a good idea, absolutely. The inventory system must suck for new players, absolutely. I think the inventory system is one of the things that needs an overhaul, and it needs an overhaul like such a big one that it seems to me very unlikely that they will ever put something out like that. Yeah, I don't want to be like a doomer or something, because normally I'm always a positive person when it comes to gaming. Thanks a lot for the prime. Really appreciate it, Chigas. Oh, sorry for butchering your name. But yeah, thanks a lot. I think overhauling the whole Guild Wars 2, how can I say, the whole Guild Wars 2 inventory would be such a huge task. It would help a lot, don't get me wrong. It would help a lot, but it's such a huge task. Yeah, good job. I mean, that's why we shouldn't run 2 healers, you know? I mean, why are we actually running 2 healers? It's like such a joke. I will swap to quick DPL. Nah. So sad. So sad. Let's play. Maybe, do I have quickness set up here? Let's check. Let's check. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's good. It's got nerfed, but I still like it. Let's play that. So let's do that. Let's just like stomp this here. Let's go. Glad you enjoy the content. Glad you enjoy the content. More to come. More to come. Yeah. No precasting 2 healers. Yeah, it's a big safari. Now I'm the DPS build. I'm a little bit rusty on this one. Also, the DPS is probably quite low anyway. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, they nerfed it quite hard, to be honest. They nerfed this quite hard. I'm really sad that they nerfed my poor Gale Shot build. I'm really sad about that one. It's such a fun one, but they had to nerf all my damage. Like, it's gone. It's just gone. Why did they not do what? That was such a scuffed rotation. I'm so rusty on this build. It's insane. I made a nice video about it. I learned the rotation like insanely well just for the video. And now I'm so bad at it. It's actually like, it's hurting. It's hurting me to watch myself play this. It's fine. I'm actually a little bit scared, to be honest, of the upcoming 95 CM with this group. A little bit scared, to be honest. A little bit scared. Yeah, we did it. Very good. The only thing I can think of them doing is separating inventory, like your materials, go to material inventory and not merge it with other stuff. I mean, they have that to some extent because you have this button that is called like deposit all materials. I mean, it effectively does exactly what you just mentioned, and it is a separate inventory. Yes, you cannot access it typically, but I don't know. I feel like it's exactly that. I think the problem is there are so many inventories and so many things in the game, or not inventories, so many materials, so many things that you can get. They are typically in bags, and then you have bags that are in bags, and then it's just like, it's just very convoluted system. And I don't know how to make that work, like without reworking every single piece of it. Yeah, it's not like something that I would say is like, that is like very easy to fix and say, yeah, just rework this item. It's not like that. They tried to fix it with unidentified gear, but in the end, unidentified gear is also for new players somewhat like not challenging, but also not the easiest thing to understand. I don't know. I feel like Guild Wars 2 has a lot of issues when it comes to its like purity of purpose in terms of gearing and inventory and like management and stuff like that. It's a little bit hard to understand. I like this part of the game because that was one of the main reasons why my account has so much value, because I played a lot of like inventory management in Guild Wars to make a lot of gold. But I know a lot of people really dislike that, like a lot. Yeah. Wasn't really overperforming Banosh pre-patch. So Gale Shot is a weird one. Gale Shot is a really weird one. Because pre-patch, Gale Shot was like one of the specs that had a very high benchmark. If and only if you did a very weird interaction with like storing your weapons and stuff like that all the time. So it was like one of the benchmarks that was one of the hardest to reach on the benchmark, while also being extremely like, how can I say, extremely unrealistic in a real fight. Yeah, in a real fight, you would typically not reach that anyway. So they nerfed Gale Shot because of the problem that you had on, because it has really high damage on the specific benchmark. But in a real fight, it was anyway not the best. And now it is like quite bad because it is, or not quite bad, but it's rather bad because it got nerfed. And in a real fight, it's now even weaker than before. So I'm not the biggest fan of their changes, especially because it's just like it didn't compensate. So you just now have like the top tier build is weaker, but the low tier build, for example, low intensity build, also got hit by it. And now it's like almost unplayable because it just has way less damage. I'm really sad about the changes there, specifically for Gale Shot. I think they could have done so much better. However, I still have hopes for Monday, where we get the new balance patch preview. And hopefully they will give us maybe some trade reworks for Gale Shot, or maybe make like the Cyclone auto tech stronger or stuff like that. That is my big hope here. Yeah, we will have to see if that's the case or if that's like not gonna happen. But either way, I'm excited for the next update. So finish this. Very good. Yeah, the inventory is within containers within containers. That is like the meme that a lot of players coming from other MMOs heard about Guild Wars 2 and notice it now as well. It's not a good meme. It's not good, yeah. I kind of wish Essence of Luck could go into material storage. That's a good point. I think a lot of things could go into material storage and they don't. I really think that would be really cool if they did. Nice. Treasure Train just started. Very good. Nice. But yeah, in the end, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. I'm not sure if they will look at it, but the core feature update, which is the title of the next update coming on February 3rd, right now, that's at least the date, that is something that could be looked at. I'm not sure if they will, but that is something that definitely is worth mentioning. Core feature update would be perfect to deliver some kind of inventory rework. Yeah, the original Banner Warrior, that was definitely something. I played it a lot back in the day because I was Banner Slave duty back then. But yeah, Banner Slave was really, really good. Yeah. I'm not sure if they will ever bring back something like that. Probably not. Yeah, it's crazy. Like Antiquary, Conduit, they nerfed Gale Shot damage because of the benchmark, and they didn't nerf Antiquary and Conduit, even though they already had crazy high benchmarks, or they nerfed it only a bit, not that much at least. It's crazy. I don't know. I feel like sometimes the ArenaNet balancing is really good, but oftentimes I feel like they just do it like only a parts of it good. I don't know. It's really weird. Of course, it's also like quite funny because I know the guy that made the highest benchmark before the patch for Conduit had like a 60k damage benchmark and did specifically not release it so that they didn't nerf it that much. It's really good. It's like it's like they specifically kept it secret so that they will not get nerfed as much, and apparently it succeeded. Yeah. Yeah, I think Chronomancer might be on the table. I hope Weaver, Renegade, those really hope that they are on the table. Warrior specifically as well. Those should be hopefully getting some kind of rework. Yeah, I really hope. I really hope so, mate. That's what I want. Yeah, I think they should buff Longbow and PvE for Ranger. I mean, it's you can see it. It's quite good on this specific one, but I don't know. I feel like Longbow is hard. If you buff it too much, it will be used on every single Ranger build, and it will be absolutely broken on Gale Shot because it already is used. Or you make it like not buffed at all, and it's not that good at all just on Gale Shot. I don't know. It's really hard. I think it's really hard to balance Gale Shot with bows, because Gale Shot really gets a lot of value from bows. I'm not sure. I'm really like, I would like to see Longbow buffs, but I think it's one of the hardest decisions they have to come up with, like quite hard. If they nerf Conduit, no one will play it, to be honest. Yeah, I really hope that Conduit gets a rework. I don't want to get a nerf to Conduit. I want to get a rework of Conduit so that Conduit is a build that can be flexible and not only be played as a DPS. Because right now, if they nerf Conduit DPS, no one will play Conduit anymore. But if they give it some kind of identity of being the spec that you can play as a quick DPS, an alacrity DPS, maybe even as a healer, that would be awesome. But right now, that is the thing that is missing, and I don't know. I think that is a big problem. I really think that is like one of the biggest problems they have with Conduit. They don't really know what the identity of Conduit is. That is the issue, I feel like. If they nerfed Gale Shot because people liked it and there were many Gale Shots, Conduit gameplay just sucks. I don't know. I think Conduit gameplay is fine. I think it's okay, but I can see the argument there that it's not that fun for some players. But the problem is that I think ArenaNet balances too much around benchmarks and too little about actual combat and content in a lot of cases. So for example, Conduit is way easier to reach the damage numbers than it is on a Gale Shot right now in real fights. It really is. Like, I played Conduit and I had like top DPS on Bone Skinner as a Conduit, even though Conduit is a Condi build, and Condi builds are not good on Bone Skinner generally, because on Bone Skinner you want to have stuff that scales with your special action key. So it's like, it's insane to me that they accepted Conduit as like a Condi damage monster. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I think playing Gale Shot, really not feeling it. Feels off to me. I mean, it's fine. Not everybody needs to like every single elite spec, yeah? I personally really like it, but I can understand that it's too many actions per second that you have to press in the opener, not per second maybe, but you have to press a lot of buttons in the opener of it, for example, to make it fun. There's a lot of multi-hits, that's not for everybody. Some people really like to see big hits with a single attack. I don't know. I personally can fully understand if people don't like Gale Shot, absolutely. I personally would say though, it's like a good design if you have different elite specs being for different people. Because in the end, we have so many different elite specs right now that it's quite unrealistic to imagine that every single elite spec will be played by every single player. Yeah, or at least liked by every single player. It's quite unlikely. So I think it makes sense to make more unique specs so that it's more likely that people will like the spec or will like the other spec. You have to see those. I'm suspecting that someone at ArenaNet really hates Ranger. I don't know. I feel like there is one of the developers is Trick, and Trick is like a Ranger main, so I think he really likes Ranger. You can see that in the competitive PvP balancing, like Ranger is always, like almost always has a quite good build in ranked, but I don't know, it just seems off to me that Gale Shot just get a nerf without a compensation. That was just weird, very weird to me. Yeah, I think like longbow buffs is also like, how can I say, longbow buffs are always a big issue in the Guild Wars 2 community because a lot of people say, oh my god, I can longbow. I heard longbow is a really good weapon. A lot of people say longbow is the best weapon on Ranger now. If they would buff that and people would like stack at 1500 range, that is not, I cannot like, they have to like, maybe I can get it at some point. There we go. Yeah, but longbow buffs is always a bit dangerous because people might just stand at 1500 range and saying, oh, I'm doing the best weapon, the best damage that I can get. That's not really helpful. Yeah, I would go in order if you like the story. If you don't, the newest expansion is always a good one. But in general, like, get what you like the elite spec and then go from there if you don't like the story. I mean, Path of Fire has the mounts, Heart of Thorns has the gliding. Those two would be really good to get. Other than that, I don't know. Are we ready? What's going on? No, we're not ready. What's your opinion on the state of Elementalist in PvE right now? I think Elementalist is in a good state. It has some weird like builds that are really strong. It has some really weird things that are like gimmicky, but I think like if they buff Weaver or change it a bit, I think Elementalist is in a really good spot. Tempest is very flexible, really good. Catalyst is really good, Evoker is really good. I think they have a lot of build variety. I think people always cry that Elementalist got nerfed so much, but it was also crazy overperforming. I don't know. I personally think Elementalist is in a really good spot right now. Yeah, Power Conduit is good. Power Conduit after the patch is good. It's good. It's not like insane. It doesn't have like insane numbers, but 43k with like almost only pressing sword auto attack is definitely something that is like a good build. Like it's a good build. It really is. We lost one player. Yeah, I was like thinking how many will we lose? But it's our healer, which is obviously not ideal. Scary. Do they AWP? Do we GG? I mean, if they don't AWP, we will just straight up lose. I don't know. Classic experience. I set up my Ranger Longbow Hammer for survival. I mean, that is okay. Just keep in mind that in group content, it's really important that to understand that you get the healing, the boons and stuff typically if you're on your party. So don't like play as if you are soloing with 10 other or 9 other solo players. In a party, it's always good to stack on top of each other. Yes, during some mechanics, sometimes it's worth it to press some buttons, so to say, and go ranged. Sure, sometimes that's worth it. But I would say in a lot of cases it's better to like play it like correctly as a party member. Yeah. If you want to play solo, oh my god. If you want to play solo, it's better to also be solo. Yeah. I would really, really encourage people to understand that stacking in Guild Wars 2, yes, you might not like this mechanic, but it's just like it is just really good. It is the meta is meta for a reason. Yeah. If I would stack here on my would not stack on my party here, I would not get the boons, I would just not get the healing, I will die. And yes, I could do some range damage, but you will notice it. It's a group content, it's a group activity. So I really encourage you to understand it. Yes, if you have a specific build that can deal very well with mechanics. Oh my god, we lost the healer again. We have to see this now. I don't know. I don't know. I'm so like... This is not good. What are they doing? Did they get the... What? Did they orb? I thought we reset. Okay, I will orb now. Will I orb now? Should I orb here? 68%. Do you trust it? Do you trust it? I will orb. Scary. Very scary. But okay. I guess, hopefully. I don't know. That's why I'm really scared of doing this fractal with people that are like not very experienced, because like you cannot carry them. It's impossible to carry them. Just straight up impossible, because they will just die to the one-shot attack. It's fine, hopefully now, and hopefully now they understand it. It's okay. It's okay. You need to wait for the big sale to the month or get it now with EOD. So you can, currently there is a big sale going on. So if you want to get the expansion, you can get the expansions right now for a big sale. But if you want to get, for example, Living World seasons and stuff like that, you have to wait for their sales as well. CC. At least we have a decent amount of like... Yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine. We should be fine now. That's good. Do these people not know? I think they don't know the mechanic with the stand thing. At least they didn't in the beginning. I think now they seem to understand it now. At least to some extent. Which is fine, you know. I don't want to flame anybody. I'm just like not happy with like playing people in like CMs in a CM group, clearly like not a training group, without actually understanding the mechanics. I think that's a little bit not my cup of tea. I would rather have like people that are at least knowing what they are doing. They don't have to be like top tier DPS. But okay, seems good, seems good. So we're surprised that orbs work in CMs? Yeah, I think it's like, to be honest, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like in challenge modes, orbs, like revive orbs, shouldn't exist. Like you should have to do the mechanics correctly. And not like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be too tryhard. Maybe like if people get the clear stand, then it's okay. I'm just saying, I think revive orbs should be something that you would typically not use in instance content. That should probably be the ideal case. But I don't really care. I mean, if we succeed with revive orbs, I'm happy. It's just like, it seems weird. Because in raids they don't work, in strike missions they don't work, but in fractals they do. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, I think this fractal is good. I like this fractal as well, but it's just painful because I cannot carry my party members. That is the biggest issue there. You know, in Nightmare CM, in even Shattered Observatory, you can take care of other mechanics, yeah, of people's mechanics. So if you just see someone doesn't do the mechanic, you can do it. In this fractal, if they don't do the mechanics, the same as Silent Surf, they will die. So it's like a skill check to some extent, which is fine, but it's definitely a bit painful to carry people through this fractal. Yeah. What do you think of the new elite specs in Vision of Eternity? Or should I stay on my Power Reaper? I think Power Reaper, if you like it, it's still a very, very good option. Like, it's really, really good. If you want to try Ritualist, Ritualist is a really good option as well. Really, really strong, even after the nerfs. So, I don't know, maybe give it a try if you want to have some different flavor. But if you are still enjoying your Reaper with the side, sure, stick with it. It's still very, very good as a DPS build across the board. Yeah. New to DPS and heal at the same time to carry them. The problem is, like, it's not only about the healing though, because one-shot mechanics, that's what I always feel like is like, I like this specific fractal because it's a skill check, yeah, because you have to understand the mechanic. Oh my, I will die in a few seconds. And it's like a skill check. You have to see the ground and you have to move out of it or into it to understand how it works. Or you have to understand how it works to actually make it correctly. I think that is a good thing. The problem, or the thing that I don't like, is that if you want to like get a thing done and the party member is just either trolling or just like not good at the end, and at the last like 15% they die and like 4 people die, you cannot save this fractal run. You have to restart this fractal, or at least the last part, the boss part. And I think that is a bit frustrating. So even if I would be the healer, if I would be the DPS and quick DPS at the same time, it is quite likely that if party members are bad, they will die and I cannot help them. So that's the issue with this fractal and Silent Surf specifically. Those two are quite annoying to deal with because you cannot carry them. I personally think it's okay to have mechanics like that, but that makes it annoying for me to deal with as someone that regularly pucks, so has like just random people that I don't know the skill level of. That's the main thing there. Yeah. Do you still use the Siege Turtle in open world with the Gay Shop? I think you can, but I'm not a big Siege Turtle fan. I think it's like a nice mount, but I think in terms of like usability, I feel like it's still a bit clunky. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a weirdo, but I think the Siege Turtle looks nice and stuff, but it's more like for more casual players. I think it's not for people that actually want to get the best in slot DPS. I think it's a fun mount, but not the most useful one in most situations. Welcome, Rod. As a new player, I really have been helped a lot by your videos. Thanks, no problem. Always happy to help. Glad to hear that. And more to come. Yeah, welcome to the game then. The Ranger Pet. Yes, the Ranger Pet Turtle is obviously a good choice. The Ranger Pet Turtle is like a perfect pet for being like a defensive pet in a potentially offensive build. Because the Ranger Turtle in the open world build has, I think, 2 or 3 CC skills. So it's insane how many CCs they do passively. And you have a projectile block and you have a protective like bubble that also gives you protection. It's really, really good. It's like an awesome, perfect pet for like being solo. It's not used in a group, so I don't use it here because it's like, I don't need that. There is just getting a bit more damage is the way to do it. But in open world, it's really good in solo play specifically. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I cannot prevent them. Give me this. The hammer, take it. Yeah, very good. Not huge fan either. I almost never use it. Slow and clunky. Yeah. The Pet Turtle is extremely strong in competitive modes as well, which is really, really fun because I think it's nice to have a new pet that is not overpowered, but it's really fun to use and is also some unique pet. I think the Turtle is one of the best designed pets of the newer ones, because a lot of the newer ones are either really broken because they're really, really strong, or they are absolute garbage. And I think the new pet, the Turtle, it's not a new pet, but the pet was not in the original game. I think it's one of the better ones. It is really, really strong, but it's not overpowered. At least in competitive modes, it has somewhat long cooldowns. It's just an overall very, very good pet. Yeah, I really think so. Yeah, always happy to help. If you have any other questions, just let me know. Always happy to help. Okay, let's do this. What is the next one? Chaos and Twilight Oasis. Okay. I mean, I like those fractals, but I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of playing quick DPS Gale Shot there, but I guess I really had like high hopes. I wanted to play like a quickness heal troubadour. I wanted to play this build because it's a really good build. People underestimate how strong it is in fractal specifically. And I couldn't. I just, they didn't let me do it in the group. It's a little bit sad. It's fine. We have now Alacrity Heal Paragon. Was decent. Yeah, but I'm really like looking forward to next year specifically. Not only like for content creation's sake, but also like in general, I'm really happy about how Guild Wars 2 hopefully develops over the next year. I like will do, hopefully, maybe if I get to it, some kind of like 2026, I don't know, video about it, what I expect to see happening in Guild Wars 2. And what do you think? Do you think Guild Wars 2 in 2026 is a game that is like good? Do you think it's like you're excited for 2026? Are you a veteran and saying, nah, I think Guild Wars 2 is like over its glory days? Yeah, let me know. I'm really interested to see what you have to say, because I can also take that into my video analysis and stuff like that about the situation. Really, really interested to see and to hear what you have to say about that. Oh, we have no stability and we have a Paragon. It's sad. Maybe I get stripped. When in doubt myself. Okay. Maybe I got stripped. I probably got stripped. That's fine. Guild Wars 2 is better than ever? Yeah, I agree. I think Guild Wars 2 is really, really good. Especially as a new player, it's extremely cool what you will get or have, and it will probably just get better from there. But do we get more content? Do you think the content will be rather sparse? That is exciting. Do we get an announcement of the expansion? Will there be another expansion? Whatever, yeah. But that is very exciting. Do you know how long it takes to get to the new benchmarks after all the changes? I mean, most of them or some of them are already out. So it typically takes a couple of days. Yeah. It depends on what they do when Visions of Eternity comes to an end. Absolutely. Yeah, we never know. I hope they announce it not like when it ends, but hopefully a little bit before, so that we at least can expect what to do. But we will see. Probably they will announce it like at the last patch of Visions of Eternity. Probably. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Gazelle is... I like the Gazelle because it has more CC, and like it's just generally good in a fractal puck scenario. I like to have a bit more CC. But yeah, you can swap, like there are different pet choices that are good as well. Yeah. I think Guild Wars 2 is on a crescendo, hopefully. I hope so. I really hope so, especially with the new influx of new players, the big marketing. I mentioned it in the beginning of the stream. I think the marketing the last week, the last month was insane. The last few months even. I think they just really stepped up and had really good marketing, and I hope they continue with that. I really hope they do. Yeah, we will see. We will see. I wish the Visions of Eternity maps had more content that would last longer. Yeah, I mentioned it in my review of Visions of Eternity as well. I think it's a really nice expansion, but for someone that plays a decent chunk of the game, not like insane amounts, but a decent chunk of the game, typically you play the expansion zones mostly for either gold farming or for the legendaries. It's not really like a map that you go back to like because you really because you really enjoy it, or because it's really good. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Kick W. Exactly. Yeah, but I don't know. I hope hope the next maps are way better than Chantewalds. That is my, like, the Chantewalds follow-up maps, Bava, Nissos, and stuff like that, they were really lackluster. And I hope that the follow-up maps of Visions of Eternity can, like, finally be really good maps again. I really hope so. Yeah, and it's really weird to say that the marketing of ArenaNet is good in the last few months, because before that it was bad for years, and now it's really good. I hope it stays like that, but the last few days especially proved how good the marketing can be. It really, really was. Yeah, hopefully that will continue like that. I notice a lot of new players, you know, not on my YouTube channel only, but also on the Twitch stream, in the comments, everywhere new players. And I think that's perfect. That's what Guild Wars 2 needs. More attention of new players, because the game is really, really big, a lot of things to do. And if you're a new player, you have years of content ahead. And I think that's awesome. And I hope they will like push that narrative more. I really hope so. There are some benchmarks, but not all of them on Snowcross yet. But I have like already some information. They have done most of the benchmarks. That they just have to update those builds and stuff. So you just have to also know the people that actually do the benchmarks and have their, for example, subscribe to their YouTube channels, and you will see what they actually have like cooked up with the benchmarks. Yeah. So where is it? There it is. Very good. The Fractal event was also really good. Yeah, there are so many good events that they pushed out, and I hope the Quick Play event coming up in February will also be awesome. I hope the core feature update will be something that is like not only titled as such, but also really does something. Like not only bringing the raid Quick Play, but also changing a lot of stuff. We will get fashion templates. I hope this is really well done as well. So there are so many things that can be happening in 2026 that might like make a really, really good thing for Guild Wars 2 and the community and the new players and all that stuff. We will have to see if I'm like just hoping for too much here or if I'm actually correct here. Either way, I'm excited. Yeah. Yeah, I think the turtle mode is really useful for new players. That is correct. But for veteran like me, I think it's more like a fun gadget than it is a real useful thing. At least that's what I do, yeah. Guides or game changing, helping in the game would be good. I don't know how much I can earn with achievements. Yeah, it's a little bit... I think Guild Wars 2 has a bit of a problem with like in-game telling you tutorials and stuff like that. I think they could improve on that, like making... I think they already have, for example, the new starting event, the bonus event. They have the character adventure guide. That is quite good, but they could definitely improve on that, especially after reaching level 80. That would be awesome. Like making a thing that gives you, like, try out fractals, try out PvP, try out World versus World. And for doing that, you then get access or like get a, I don't know, 24 slot back, or you get like the first part of like, I don't know, like a few Mystic Clovers, just something that gives you actually some incentive to do it, and then you will slowly get better and understand more of the game. Some kind of guide tutorial style. Absolutely, yeah. How Guild Wars 2 never came across my radar until recently. This game is so good and has so much to offer. Yeah, I think it's so crazy. I have so many new players in my like content creation sphere. And I'm always like so happy to see that a lot of people say, I never tried Guild Wars 2 before, and it's such a good game. Why didn't I try it before? I think that's just very cool to hear. It's obviously a little bit sad that they didn't try it earlier, but at least they try it now. So I'm like just all for it, yeah. And I hope we get more and new players, and hopefully those players will also stick around. That is the big hope here. And hopefully more events like for those players as well. No, I got CC'd. At least I got stun broken. That's good. No, I got CC'd again. That's why I need stability. I don't know what the Paragon is doing. You know, as a Paragon, you can have permanent stability on your party. I really don't know what's going on. But I guess we take it. I guess we get the kill anyway. Executioner X2 can be cancelled with heal skill. Yes, that is true. Yes, that is true. So use 2 heal at the end and then 2 again, so you don't unequip it. And that's such a good item. That's why I made a short about it. And so many people said, holy moly, that's so broken. It's crazy. This has been in the game for like, I don't know, 10 years. It's really, really good. It's just such a good item. In Fractal specifically, you can just run very fast and cast it very long. And especially with super speed, I can show that in this Fractal. When I load it in, with super speed you go even farther. It's crazy. It's really, really good. Such a cool item. Such a cool item. So I give myself super speed and then okay, maybe not the best showcase. Give me a second. Let's do it again. So we actually run in the direction that I want to run. Okay, that seems good. And then, no, it's such a good item. Like it's so nice. Of course, you should probably also have super speed. Then you make the best use out of it. But it's a good one. I'm not sure if I should do this alone on a gale shot. It's okay. We got our group now. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Like some kind of intro scenario, maybe just like a specific part of the game that tells you this is PvP. You have to do this to actually win a match. This is world versus world. How to win world versus world, or how to get a lot of rewards here. Do this and that. I think that would be very, very helpful for newer players to try out those game modes and don't get lost in them, because they are big to some extent, especially like fractals, raids and stuff. To get into those game modes, it's not something that is trivial for a new player. But if you get them in that, they probably are hooked for way longer than if they would just like get in there and don't know what to do at all. I think the quick play feature for fractals was awesome. If they do it with raids, if they do something like that with world versus world as well, I think people would really like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's the Executioner's X toy. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for mentioning Alka and Snow. My engine build for fractals that has the super speed hammer build was so awesome. Yeah, Scrapper or like super speed in general is really underestimated. It's such a good buff, not only for this item, but also in general. You know, you can move faster. You always are at the movement speed cap. So you can just move very, very fast, even in combat. So it's just like universally a good item, or good boon to get. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still a little bit rusty with the combos. That's okay. And I'm still surprised that the Paragon doesn't provide any stability. I'm like, what? They have like all boons except stability, and even like Paragon can upkeep 100% stability. It's like, I actually have no clue how they are doing that to avoid all the stability. Insane. Yeah, the Choya one is also good. They both work very well. You don't have to use the toy, what's it called, the Executioner's toy. You can also use the Choya one. That is true. Absolutely true. Yeah, I think the problem is like making more sub-game modes is not really good if you split the player base, yeah? So I personally think it's better to integrate a tutorial into the existing game modes. I think that is a smarter way of doing it. Like giving you some rewards if you do X, giving you more rewards if you do Y, so that you actually are incentivized to do those things. So for example, you get a reward for playing Veil Guardian in quick play, and then you get another reward for playing Veil Guardian in normal mode, and stuff like that. Is probably a better some kind of guidance tutorial than making a whole new boss or something, where, or even in competitive modes it's even worse, where the player base might get split and they just want to play the easy part or the easy way. So I think sub-game modes is not the way to do it in Guild Wars 2 for the most part, because Guild Wars 2 has a big player base, but especially when it comes to like content. By the way, I knew it. Yeah. By the way, if they have to do sub-content, like, for example, Conquest, Split with Push and Stronghold. That didn't work out well. If it comes to stuff like that in Guild Wars 2, there's oftentimes the problem that Guild Wars 2's players are mostly casual players in open world, and that doesn't really go well with a lot of different game modes, because if 90% of the community never touches those game modes, if you make more of those game modes, it's probably not a good... Yeah, they dodged on me. Not nice. They wanted me to get birded. Okay, and that's okay. Not good. So if you get the bird thing here, you should always dodge out of the group. I took my pet away. It's also not that nice. I recently bought the latest 3 expansions. Which one would you suggest to run through first? I mean, if you like story, I personally would say going for story first in the chronological order is probably the way to do it. if you don't care about story, I think like Chante Wilds is really good for like the Spear. I think like Visions of Eternity is good if you like the new elite specs that maybe the content creators, maybe that you see somewhere else online. Those are really, really like worthwhile getting as well. Then you should probably go for the latest expansion. And I would say Soto as an expansion, so Secrets of the Obscure, provides you with one of the easiest ways to get the legendary armor. So if you're into that, that might be the first thing that you could get, or like a lot of flexibility with different weapon choices. It's really hard. I think all of them are worthwhile doing. Probably if you're into story, you should probably just do it chronologically though. Yeah. I'm still missing all my stability. Bird gameplay, exactly. One thing they need to remove is the time gate on Ectoplasma Refinement. I don't know. I have to be honest. I agree with you that it's annoying. But one thing that I have to say about ArenaNet, you can say as much as you want, but the economy of the game is very well balanced, like really well balanced. If you think about how you got gold and how much gold you got in the beginning of the game, the amount of gold you got is almost exactly the same, or like what, like for example, a legendary is worth it, is almost, or at least very similar to the amount that it was at the beginning of the game, or at least somewhat at the beginning. Yeah, I think that is something very good. We don't have inflation, we don't have deflation for the most part. The game economy is very stable, and I'm not sure how much it would influence the game's economy by making daily crafts go away. I'm not sure. So I have no clue about it, and that's my life philosophy. If I don't have a clue about something, I trust the people that actually work in this specific topic, and I think they actually have a rather big awareness of what the actual like gold sink and time sink and daily crafts and that kind of stuff is actually worth it. And that's why I would say better leave it as it is, because the economy is rather like, seems to be rather stable. At least if they don't introduce like the mirror thing that completely changed how, for example, Ectos were priced. But yeah, that's just my take. There we go. We did it. There we go. Wasn't the most smooth run, I have to be honest. Yeah, so I don't know if I get the questions, Alovi, but maybe you can repeat it and then I will try to answer it. What would you say is the best current DPS class post-patch for raids? I think that is very hard and very like situational, which is the best class. If you want to have benchmark number, it's probably Antiquary or it is Conduit. Conduit, those two are the top benchmarks, but I think it's very situational. Sometimes you need some more range. Sometimes you need more utility. Sometimes you need like a big burst. I think there are so many different things that you can consider what's the best. So I personally would say it depends on the situation. You cannot make like one thing and say that's absolute the best all the time, everywhere, always. Yeah. Hope that makes sense here, the answer. I think it's really mean to say that's the only build you should play because it's the absolute best build ever. I think that's probably never the case in Guild Wars 2. Probably. Yeah. So let's clean it up a bit. And then I will catch up in chat. Give me a second. What is the reason we cannot mass craft in a Mystic Forge? That is a really good question. Like, one example would be like you can get lodestones, yeah? If you know this specific item, lodestones. Let me check that. Lodestones, yeah? You have those lodestones, charged lodestones and that kind of stuff. And some of them are quite pricey right now. You can get them by random drops, or you can convert the ones that you have from like lower tiers to higher tiers. And some of them are actually quite pricey, yeah? Because they are nowadays, the higher ones are quite pricey as well. So you can convert the lower ones to higher tiers and get a bit of gold influx. However, you can only do those single. So you can only get a single lodestone per conversion, which is so annoying. It's so annoying. I really hope they introduce more crafting recipes in the Mystic Forge that they are like a full stack conversion. That would change the market, yes, but I think like making it so annoying that almost no one does it is not a good solution. Like it's not. So I'm definitely with you there. Absolutely with you. Yeah. But what can you do? You know, that's just like apparently how they did it in the beginning and they never changed it. I guess that's how they Yeah, season 1 legendaries got devalued, but the amount of gold, like the gold value in relatively is still very, very similar. Yeah, I guess you're right. Of course, the value of a legendary generation 1 is a little bit lower, but in general, the amount of gold and time you need to farm a legendary is somewhat similar nowadays. Somewhat. No, they all got the Dolyaks already. Not good. What are your thoughts on Relic of Rivers? I think it is good in a solo scenario, but as soon as you are in a group, in any game mode, it falls off drastically. It is good as a support in PvP or World vs. World. It can be decent, but oftentimes it's better to go full support mode and also bring a support relic because it's not shared with your allies. So I think Relic of Rivers is very situationally good, not generally good, I would say. Yeah. You mentioned it earlier, can support Power Gun really provide permanent stability? Yes, I will showcase it after this run. I can showcase it. It's possible. It's actually quite easily possible. It's just like you have to know how to do it. And this guy clearly didn't know. And it's not hard. It's just you have to know how to do it. That's the thing, you know. But it's okay. I did not flame them. It's just I noticed it. Yeah, I noticed that it was definitely clearly missing. Clearly missing. That's one of the great things about Guild Wars 2. There are so many ways to play. Chatting in Discord about WoW builds and queuing for Mythic Plus. It made it feel impossible to do anything besides optimal. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 is, especially build crafting, but a lot of different things are quite flexible and you can adjust it to your needs, to your playstyle. I think that's really cool. But I agree that Guild Wars 2 has not this hardcore economy like mindset that World of Warcraft has with Mythic Plus and stuff. I, as someone that enjoys this try-hard playstyle, is a little bit sad that Guild Wars 2 is not having crazy try-hard community. Don't get me wrong, we have it, but it's not as big as it in World of Warcraft. So I would really like to see a lot of the new players that we get right now becoming veterans that are very invested in the game and actually want to not only get the game to get better, but also want to like make content and help new players getting into the game as well or getting better at the game. I think that is something that we really need, and I hope that you as a new players will stick around and do that. Yeah, I really hope so. We will have to see though if the game stays along for long enough. Hopefully, if you stay along long enough, I hope so. We'll have to see. Either way. Excited times in 2026 because there are so many things coming that should help with that. Absolutely. Yeah. I've been interested in playing healer. Is Chronomesmer still viable? Oh yes, it's very viable. Still one of the top tier builds, yes. It's really good. What are your thoughts on giving Mechanist weapon swap? I don't know. I feel like it doesn't need it. I think it would be really, really strong if it would have a weapon swap. I think like a lot of the specs that don't have weapon swap, like Mechanist or Engineer in general, Elementalist, they don't need a weapon swap. They are already really good. So giving it a weapon swap would like is not necessary and would just make it even harder to balance, while also being also quite like over-tuned, I would say. At least in my opinion. Yeah. Game is just a lot more casual? Absolutely. The game is like over the years it became way more casual. And that's fine, you know, that's apparently the audience that mostly plays this game, which is completely fine. Just saying, I think having a casual game is also good if you have a little bit of a try-hard community in there as well. And I hope that will continue to grow again. I hope so. Yeah, the tryhard community is there. It is definitely there. It's just like, it's not like as much as it was in the beginning of the game. Yeah. single element evoker needs weapon swap? I don't know. I think people that want to play single element evoker don't want the more like, why would you specialize in an attunement to then get again more complexity by having a weapon swap? I think that's like, yes, it would fix the issue of being played in competitive modes as a single element evoker, which is right now not always the best option, or most of the time not the best option. However, I feel like in PvE it is still very strong. Like I saw a benchmark almost 50k DPS with like single elements evoker with the fire one. It's still really good. Like people overestimate the depth of it like insanely. It's still really good. I don't know. I think it doesn't need a weapon swap. I think that might be a hot take, but I think that's not necessary. It can be balanced without it. Yeah. Welcome, Smoke. Glad to hear that. Yeah, glad to hear that. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 lacks a little bit of try-hard content. Like fractal CMs are not hard at all for most players that actually understand their builds. It's not like crazy hard content. It's not easy, but it's also not crazy hard. And then if you like look at raids and stuff, and even the raid CMs, they are not challenging too much. It's like challenging for some people, that is not like insane challenge. Yes, the legendary challenge modes, they are harder, but if you look at WoW and what they actually provide for challenging content, I think Guild Wars 2 will never get that crazy amount of challenging PvE content. I think Guild Wars 2 is just a more casual oriented game, which is completely fine. I don't want their focus to shift to more tryhard content. I think it's more about the community having maybe some kind of more tryhard player base on top of the normal casual base would probably help the game grow even more, because like community tournaments, making like more websites, more action, more build crafting, maybe make more PvP and World vs. World become more active again. I don't know. I feel like that is helping the game way more than if they would make more try-hard content. Because apparently for them it takes a lot of time to invest into those types of content without much of payoff. Yeah. My issue right now is trying to help get my casual buddies into the game at the same time as my Mythic Raider buddy. I mean, then you have to juggle a lot there, yeah? Yeah, but it's a good like goal there. I really would like to see that happening, yeah. Can you imagine a Guild Wars 2 raid tuned as difficult as a Race to World's First Mythic raid? That would be like really cool. I mean, they had some of that with the Legendary Challenge modes. They take like 7 days to beat when they came out, so that's quite nice. But they just do that once a year. So if they would do that like more regularly, or just make it even harder, taking even longer, I guess maybe people would like that, but mostly for viewing, less for actually like really playing, taking part in that. But either way, I would be excited to see more of that, for sure. Absolutely. World of Warcraft is, of course, on the complete opposite of the spectrum. I know that. I'm just saying you could find like a nice like way to balance and get some inspiration of other good games, yeah. That would be my hope, and I think Arena can do that. I think they can pull that off. Yeah, I think like the new, like the last week, like maybe let's say month, the marketing of ArenaNet was really good. And if they continue with that, maybe get more like make the Twitch drops better, make like Race to World's First more interesting, and then push it more out, like making more marketing while that is happening. I don't know. I think that could get a lot of attention to the game, because they had people here in chat that said, yeah, I did not have Guild Wars 2 on my radar forever, and now I tried it and it's such a good game. And exactly that needs to happen to more people, because I think the game is awesome and I think it deserves more attention, and stuff like that could get the attention to the game. And I hope that Arena will notice that. That is my big hope there. Yeah. So I'm playing the server in Guild Wars 2 doesn't really matter anymore. So I'm playing on a U, and that's the only thing that matters. If you join the game, you can only select nowadays between a U and an A. And if you want to play World vs. World together, that's the only thing that matters. Everything else you can play by just joining, so to say, a map, and you will right-click on your party member and you can join their map as well. So it's really, really easy to swap maps, because there is no server in Guild Wars 2 anymore. It's only for World vs. World. So where you play like big 50 versus 50 battles, and all of them are other players as well. Only there the server matters in the regard that you have to choose your guild. So you can set your guild as your world versus world guild. You can select it and set it there, and then you will be with your guild in the same server. I'm a Reninite partner, so I'm not on a server located. I can swap around freely, but that's only a partner perk, so you will not be able to do it. So the answer to your question is I don't have a server because I can swap around all the time. Do you think they will nerf the relic of the Pirate Queen? I was fearing that that might happen at some point, but to be honest, when they release a relic like that, I actually expect them to understand what it will provide for solo builds. So I personally think it's rather unlikely, to be honest. I would be a bit surprised if they would nerf it. Yeah. So I would say more likely not. Yeah, more likely not. Yeah, if they would add more tough bosses every 6 months, I think the game could actually be like getting a more try-hard player base and more interested player base into this specific content. I think they are quite struggling with it right now, but if they would pull that off, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I agree. I'm from Germany originally, yes. I said in the beginning, I did Shiver Peak Strike only with 3 people. I was support. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. It went super smooth. Yeah, like the Guild Wars 2 has a lot of easy content, like especially with the now power creep, feature creep of like expansions and stuff like that. A lot of the content is very easy, but it is not less fun because of that. I think you have to understand that I still do Iceblood Saga Strikes almost every day because I find them fun. I don't play them because they're challenging. If I want to do challenging stuff, I play PvP or World vs. World because then I actually have to face other human beings, and it's just by nature more challenging than facing like PvE. That's just how it works. But in Guild Wars 2, it could be like a really, really challenging PvE as well. It's just like there are only 2 or 3 bosses that are actually considered as challenging as they could be. Yeah. Yeah, convergences are also good example. Yeah. Yeah, more skins is probably originally, exactly. Good question there. No, I think more skins that are not in a gem store, but you can earn them in game, even mount skins, glider skins and stuff like that would be awesome. I think that is something that is a little bit missing. That's not true anymore, but it was the case in the beginning of the game. Now it's a bit better. Now we get like 1 armor set, 1 weapon set or something like that with almost every single release that you can earn in the game. I think that is way better than we had it already. So I personally think they did improve on that, but I agree they could improve even further. Yeah. But you can always understand that if that skin in the gem store is for you, you can always convert your gold into gems. So if I convert my gold into gems, I can buy every single item in the store, every single piece of item. There is not a single skin or anything that I cannot acquire in the game. That's, or at least, yeah, there is like a handful of skins that are, you have to play Guild Wars 1 for them, but everything else you can acquire in the game itself. And that's really cool. And yes, it might be in a gem store and it might not be, so to say, like as fun as getting an achievement and unlocking the skin, but at least it is possible. And I think that's making the game way less like microtransaction heavy as people seem to understand it in the beginning of the game. Yeah. Do you have a favorite open world build? Not really. I like to swap around a lot. I think like Renegade is a really, really fun one. I think Amalgam now is a really, really good one. I also feel like Gale Shot is really good, but they nerfed it, so it's not that good anymore. I don't know. I think those would be my top picks, yeah. Yeah, I think support specifically got power crept so crazy that oftentimes like you can just like play whatever DPS you want. The supports carry you through with like insane DPS like uptime for your party, because you can just like provide Aegis stability, negate 90% of the mechanics, and the last 10% are done by the support player. So the DPS player, just every fight is exactly the same because the DPS player is just like getting carried by their support and the power creep. Yes, DPS is also crazier than ever, but that is not the craziest part, to be honest. It's just how it goes over the course of like a decade, sure. Is Revenant good compared to other classes? I would say Revenant is in a decent spot. It's not like the best, but it's also not the worst. So, yeah. Is your open world Mesmer build with Nurus Relic still fun in your opinion? Absolutely. It's really, really good. I like that one a lot. It's just oftentimes you don't need to go that like crazy try hard and play like crazy tanky and survivable builds. Oftentimes you don't need that in open world. Yeah. Do you have a nice Conduit world versus world roaming or PvP build? So for PvP, the problem is they nerfed Conduit a bit. I have to like look at it and see how much I can play around with it, or if we have to come up with a completely different build. We have to see. Right now I don't have a build. You can just play like probably like Corruption and Retribution and play some kind of nasty tanky build that plays Condi with Spear. That seems like a solid build even after the nerfs, but I think they nerfed it quite a bit in competitive modes. So I have to take a look at it again. Okay, so I wanted to showcase this, how a Paragon can upkeep the boons permanently. I will showcase this, give me a second. I can't decide between Elementalist and Ranger for my main. Can you give me some tips how to finally lock in the one character? So Elementalist is all about having 4 elements and therefore is very flexible. You can play a healer, you can play a DPS build, you can be tanky, you can all different things, but you always have to understand that Elementalist typically has a lot of buttons that you press. Even the easy builds typically press a lot of buttons. Even if it's the same buttons, you press them quite often. In a lot of other scenarios, Ranger is a bit more straightforward. There are also builds that are heavy on button presses, but it's more straightforward. Ranger is more focused towards DPS builds most of the time, but has also a really good healing build with Druid. However, Druid is only being played in PvE as well as in World vs. World. If you play PvP a lot, you wouldn't play that. Generally, I would say Druid is like the only good healer that you have on Ranger right now. So Ranger is less flexible, but very, very strong in the current meta. And you have Elementalist being also quite strong in the current meta, but is way more flexible. Like Elementalist builds, you have like, I don't know, 25 different builds. On Ranger, you have like 10 or something. Yeah. They do a bunch of changes, so all the new guides probably will be outdated. I'm not sure if they will be outdated, but it could change a lot. That is true. That is absolutely true. I miss the day of having a dedicated tank, healer, boon strip, boon giver, pure DPS. Yeah, nowadays it's like the healer does everything and you have DPS players. it's the new standard. Yeah. Is it me or what? I think Deadeye is kind of bad compared to other Thief Elite specs. Yes, I think Deadeye is like got completely outclassed by most of the others. Like Antiquary is better as a DPS, and Quick DPS is still maybe Deadeye the best, but that's about it. Like Deadeye in competitive modes is like not the best anymore. It's just Deadeye got like, cause everything else got better and Deadeye stayed the same, so Deadeye is not the best anymore. So I give myself now quickness, and then I will showcase how good you can provide perma stability on a Paragon, okay? Just look at the boons that I provide here. I will just give my, like, the golem here. And I have just quickness because that's the only boon that I will not provide permanently. And then you will see how easy it is to upkeep quickness. Yeah, important trait here is, of course, martial cadence and my stability banner as well as my chant of freedom. So I have like 3 skills, so to say. Yeah, let's do it like that, and then you will see how easy it is to upkeep the boons. So stability. Now I will not lose stability for the rest of the fight. So it's like, let's say 2 minutes, okay? It's really, really easy to have permanent stability on your party. Like it's not a big issue at all. Like not issue, not at all. Like, of course I'm spamming my buttons here like pretty crazy, but I have like my stability up permanently. There is not a single second that drops it. It's really good right now. It has some issues that I mentioned earlier, yes, of course, but it's like the boon output and also the stability, like permanent level is really high. Like that's what I meant earlier. Like not a lot of builds can provide perma stability to your part. So, and that's why I was so surprised that this Paragon that we faced earlier in the fractal that we had didn't have like dropped almost any stability on me, even though you can have like permanent stability for your party. That was a bit surprising to me. But you can see it's like, yeah, I'm not dealing a lot of damage, but I'm healing, I'm providing stability permanently, and I have like, except from quickness, everything else is provided by myself. Look at this. Like, what? Insane boon output on this build. So that should prove that I can upkeep some permanent stability. Okay, hopefully that's the point. Yeah, the nuke might be coming. The nuke might be coming, the balanced nuke. Yeah. Is it not a stability anymore? It is stability. It does provide stability, I think. Yeah. So the beginning part of it provides stability as well. I'm pretty sure it provides stability. I think the first part provides stability, not the passive procs. Yeah. No, that is not DPS Paragon. DPS Paragon is like, I can also showcase that. That's actually a very, very good build. Let's see if I have it set up here. No, I don't have it. No, I don't have it. Then I cannot showcase it, sadly. But DPS Paragon is really easy. I have a guide on my YouTube channel. It's really easy. You're just pressing your sword buttons off cooldown. That's it. And you have like 41k DPS. It's really, really easy. Really, really good build. Highly recommended. Like, really, really strong. Yeah. The only thing I find challenging is the constant knockback, stuns, and the projectors from some enemy. Also the enemy damage over time. Yeah, I mean it's not the easiest, but if you just be patient, try to improve, and you will slowly get better. Yeah. Yes, you can play Paragon as a full DPS, Power or Konyi, and it works very well. You cannot really play as a Alacrity DPS. You play it full DPS or you play it full support. That's what Paragon is. Yeah. Yes, hydrating. Good point. Could you try the F4 next to random players? Yes, I can do that. They should rework this concept of permanent wounds, mostly important stability. Yes, I think I'm with you there, Cobalt. And even the ArenaNet developers mentioned that in the beginning, that okay, it didn't provide stability. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe the beginning is not anymore instability that you share. Maybe it's just the stun break. Maybe you're right. I think it's really hard to see that here, if it's shared or not. Maybe you're right. But it doesn't matter. The point is you can, even without it, upkeep permanent stability. I can showcase this as well. Because you have Martial Cadence. Martial Cadence is on a 4-second cooldown, and it provides 6 seconds of stability. So I don't even need to showcase it. The math works out. You can see it here. If you weapon swap off cooldown and press the F1 off cooldown, you have permanent stability to your party. It's just one stack, but you can upkeep it permanently. So, yes, you're right. That might not be a stability for your party members anymore, but it's a stun break. This one is permanent stability. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Good point. Good for correcting media. Are these contracts you get in the gem store good or waste of gems? So the contracts, I would say you can invest in them. Where are they? Somewhere. At least there is like these contracts that we are talking about. Yeah, exactly. Those things here, they are decent. I personally think there are some that are better than others. You can take a look at fast farming and they calculate how much gold you get per day from that. I personally think it's not necessary. I would say better save the gems, but if you're a completionist, that can be fun to have all of them because you get some passive things all the time. I personally have like 1 or 2 of them just so I get some currency passively, but I don't know. I think for new player, skip them and don't worry about it. That's my tip there. It's quite pricey for what it provides. Yeah. Yeah, it might be bugged. I think it's really weird. Maybe it's bugged. Maybe they changed it. Shadow changed it. I have no clue. I think this is a long description for a skill and it doesn't provide me the value. You know, is the stability shared? Is it not shared? Should it be shared? Is it bugged? Is it not bugged? I don't know. It's really weird. Either way, stability on Paragon is very easy to upkeep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like Alka puts it. End of Dragon's reward, like this one is the best one right now. And it's like almost 1 gold per day, which is good. But if you look at this is like at 800 right now. So 800 gems is like 300 gold. It's like almost a year until it pays off. And that's the best one. So if you look at the worst one, it takes a decade to pay off. So I don't know. Is that worth it to you? I personally would say maybe. Probably not for most people. Antiquary is still very good after the nerfs. Almost unchanged. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure Trevor is right there. I think it seems to be a bug that it's not providing stability anymore because they didn't mention it. However, they did not mention something else either. Let me showcase it. For on Revenant, on Conduit specifically, they didn't mention that Conduit has like, let's showcase this here. In this thing here, Call to Anguish, was previously a pull and the second flip over skill was an evade. In the notes, there was nothing that Unyielding Impact is not an evade anymore. However, it is not an evade anymore. So they did some shadow changes. And it's really weird that they are quite impactful, especially in competitive modes, that this is not an evade anymore. They didn't mention that. And maybe that was the same with the Paragon stability. I doubt it, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah. Soldier's focus in Paragon is the same as a normal warrior. It's just like the same effect, exactly the same. Yeah. Revisiting Guild Wars 2 as the most enjoyable experience? Yeah, it's really good. Glad you enjoyed, and hopefully you will enjoy it for the months to come. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. How's Ritualist after the nerfs? Ritualist is still very good. Like, the nerfs didn't hit that hard. It's still a very, very good DPS build. It's still a very good quickness DPS build. It's just really good in all game modes across the board. Still. Really is. Yeah. They ended up buffing Alacrity Antiquary pretty good. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, I think I saw someone doing 49k as Alacrity Antiquary. It's really, really good. Like, Antiquary did not really like change that much, and the others got like nerfed, and now Antiquary is like top DPS together with Conduit. It's crazy. It's really like, why did they not nerf that more? Because it was clearly overperforming, and now it's still overperforming. Just everything else is not as overperforming. It's crazy. It really is. Yeah. So the marker packs that I recommend from the Blish pathing module, I recommend the reactives pack. That's really good. And if you go, for example, to like map completions and stuff, I think there are like, I would say 4 marker packs that I really like. I like to have, for example, the, how is it called? Let me show. I like to have the Tackets one. Tackets one can be good as well. I think the best one for map completion is the Thies one that you can see here. Thies. I think there is the Lady Alyssa's one that's also good. And I like to have the reactive ones. Those 4 are the best, but there are so many good ones. It depends on what kind of content you are doing. I really would recommend the Thies one above all the others because it's so optimized. It's really, really good for map completion specifically. But the Tackets one is just for casual gameplay good. Lady Alyssa's one is good. There are so many good ones. Yeah. So just naming a few here. Yeah. What's your favorite build right now? I cannot choose. I cannot choose. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be hard to balance Antiquary if they nerf it based upon perfect grinded RNG, so it's the average, it ends up below other specs. Exactly. There's no reason to play it if it's like too low DPS. I think it should be higher in, like, the average should be based where the other specs are. And if you're getting a high RNG, it should be higher DPS than the others. But it should also be not as high DPS on an Alacrity DPS build. I think an Antiquary should go full DPS and should be rewarded if they play the rotation perfectly and are lucky. I think then they should be rewarded, and they should not set this as the new standard. I think that is not the way to do it. I really think so. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Alacrity Antiquary is insane right now, or in general Antiquary. Yeah. It really, really is good right now. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's also the end of today's stream. I think it was a really nice stream. I had a blast. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Like I said, really, really good stuff coming up. At least I think so. If you want to purchase the expansions on sale right now, be sure to use my referral link if you want to support me. And yeah, thank you a lot for all your support, for viewing, and I hope to see you around. Have a nice weekend and take care. See you.